Family cultivation. My mobile phone traveled through time. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101. The Strength of Heavenly Spiritual Roots. She's gone. Xuanji flashed a trace of sadness. At the beginning, when they found out that Xuanji was a natural spiritual root, the clan leader, the great elders, etc. all wanted to keep Xuanji in the Lu family. At that time, the Lu family might become a purple mansion family, a golden elixir family, but the Lu family was a small temple after all, and could not accommodate such a great god. The Lu family was too small, and could give her very little. It's better for her to leave. The outside world is her sea of stars. Putting away the sadness, Xuanji opened the booklet. Xiaoxu's notes. The records above are messy, spanning a long period of time, recording Xuanji's cultivation experience, as well as some daily things. My name is Xuanji. My real name is Eria. I was a child bride in my childhood, and later I met an immortal brother who said that I had spiritual roots and could become an immortal. Later, the immortal brother said that he was not an immortal, but just a miserable 007 monk. When my brother took me back to the county town, I ate such sweet rice for the first time. I joined the Lu family, and the first step to becoming a monk was to read and write. The students in the same class were all 6 or 7 years old, but I was the only one who started to learn to read at the age of 13. How embarrassing. Curious, Xuanji continued to look through his notes. At the age of 15, I was only at the first level of key training. How embarrassing. Am I a loser? At the age of 16, I entered the second level of key training. Then I advanced 1 level a year. At the age of 27, I was at the 9th level of key training. But I didn't dare to tell my brother, because he was only at the 7th level of key training. The Lu family was attacked by the bandits. My brother and I were stranded outside. I felt so happy. The Lu family was rebuilding. My brother and I returned to Changyuan Mountain and met the elder. Without the foundation building pill, my brother could only take the risk of attacking the foundation building stage. Fortunately, he succeeded. Later, I also established the foundation. After entering the foundation building stage, I felt that my brother was so weak. I could fight 3 people alone, not 5. After establishing the foundation, I awakened the innate Dao fetus and my comprehension increased greatly. Heavenly Fire Art. 1 day to get started, 1 month to achieve minor success, 6 months to achieve major success, and 3 years to complete. But it was difficult to get started with the Spring Windwood Spirit technique. The spells of other attributes were also difficult to practice. After building the foundation, I practiced faster, and I was promoted 1 level every 2 years. My brother gave me some spirit stones and some elixirs, and I practiced even faster. In just 18 years, I was at the 9th level of the foundation building, but my brother was only at the 2nd level. When my brother asked me about my realm, I lied and said that I was only at the 4th level of the foundation building. I began to attack the purple mansion. My brother, the elder, my father, etc. wanted to respond to the call of the Jin Patriarch and go to the White Tiger Mountain. I wanted to join the expedition, but was rejected by the elder. The old woman Jinzi was really powerful. At her command, the surrounding cultivators and families came to visit. It took 10 years to refine the true essence to the 4th level and pass the 2nd difficulty. It took 7 years to open up 108 small meridians, 1000 tiny meridians, and 100,000 fine meridians. Pass the 3rd difficulty. It took 5 years to open up 365 major acupoints, 1296 minor acupoints, and 129,000 intermediate acupoints, and pass the 4th difficulty. It took 3 years to temper the soul, and the soul was as tough as a knife, and past the 5th difficulty. The sky fire burned from the dungeon, burning the internal organs. There was also a nightmare wind, coming from the sea of consciousness, blowing out the soul. After 9 days and 9 nights, I passed the 6th and 7th difficulties. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth poured in, and the laws of heaven and earth baptized me. After 9 breaths, I passed the 8th difficulty. Xiangxin asked, "Why do you cultivate immortality?" I answered according to my heart, and passed the 9th difficulty later. Xiangxin asked again, "Choose the way of heaven or the way of heaven?" I chose a way of heaven, and passed the 10th difficulty later. A trace of divine thought entered the origin of heaven, and used the luck as a pen to engrave the name on the stone tablet, and passed the 11th difficulty. The last difficulty is called the cause and effect difficulty, which is unspeakable. Flipping through the notes, Xuanji was calculating the time. A 72-year-old purple mansion cultivator with a natural spiritual root is really terrifying. Xuanji sighed. He really didn't understand the world of geniuses. Such a growth rate is simply flying in the sky. But he also understood more and more that Xiaoxu leaving here is the most correct choice. The temple here is small and cannot accommodate a big Buddha. Everyone can allow the Lu family to give birth to 2 purple mansion cultivators, but not to give birth to a purple mansion with a natural spiritual root. Besides, the Lu family can't bring her more resources, nor can they provide her with advanced skills and magical secrets. Let her go out and make her own way. Outside, find some adventures, and walk her own way. Purple mansion cultivators can leave Qingshu County, or even leave Chu State, travel outside, and get some opportunities. As long as the luck is not too bad, most of them will be safe and worry-free. Foundation building cultivators are much worse. Foundation building cultivators appear in other counties, unfamiliar with the place, and are easily robbed by cultivators, killed and robbed. The mobile phone collects information. Xuanji said. The mobile phone began to collect. The notebook recorded the cultivation process of a person with a natural spiritual root. These materials were of great value to him. The next day, in the hall, Xuanji met the elder again. "Elder, Xiaoxu is gone." Xuanji said. "Why is she so impulsive?" The elder sighed. "It's not impulsive, but she has entered the purple mansion." Xuanji spoke, talking about Xiaoxu's situation. The elder listened, and was speechless for a long time. After a long time, he said, "Xiaoxu is a natural spiritual root. Should I keep Xiaoxu, or send her away?" There was a serious dispute between the clan leader and me, but now the dispute is gone. It's difficult to raise a dragon in the water. The Lu family's pond is still too small to raise a real dragon like Xiaoxu. It's best that Xiaoxu is gone. She is safe, and the Lu family is safe too. It's a pity that we have spent a lot of resources over the years, and now we have lost everything. Xuanji was silent, not knowing how to respond. But, at this moment, a terrifying breath came from outside Changyuan Mountain. The breath was as hot as the sun. A purple mansion master descended on Changyuan Mountain. Not good. Is it possible that a powerful enemy is here? The elder was horrified and said directly, "If it is impossible, I will resist for a while, and you think about how to escape." His figure flashed and disappeared. Suddenly, the formation of Changyuan Mountain started to work endlessly. But the elder had no confidence. The formation of Changyuan Mountain could only resist the purple mansion master for a moment, and then it was destroyed. He only hoped that Xuanji would take this opportunity to escape. When he got outside, he stared into the void, but he was relieved and opened the cave formation directly. By the way, he flew out of Changyuan Mountain and said respectfully, "Miss Longzuan, why did you come to my Changyuan Mountain?" Longzuan restrained her breath and smiled. Good things are coming to the Lu family. Chapter 102, Missing After Separation. White clothes like snow, breath like a sword. Longzuan landed at Changyuan Mountain and congratulated. The elder didn't understand what she meant. Longzuan said directly, "Dao, how many levels of chance do you have to become a purple mansion?" "2 levels, or even lower." The elder thought and said at last. Longzuan said, "Dao's qualifications are limited. Even if you have been polished for 20 years and passed the 4th difficulty, it is difficult to pass the soul difficulty without Xiang Jade. Without Nirvana Pill, how can you pass the Skyfire difficulty and Nightmare Wind difficulty?" Now, Dao's fortune has come. The ancestor occupied Xiang Mountain and owed Dao 1.2 million spirit stones. Now, I can provide Dao with 2 Xiang Jades to open the Nirvana pool and help Dao. At this time, Dao should go to Xiang Mountain. The elder was overjoyed and said, "Senior, wait a moment. I will arrange something at home, and I will go to Xiang Mountain with you later. Go quickly and come back quickly," Long Xuan said. When they arrived in the living room, the elder called Lu Xuanji. After instructing him on some things, he followed Long Xuan to Xiang Mountain. It would take 3 to 5 years to attack the Purple Mansion, or more than 10 years. Family affairs were also handed over to him. In this way, Lu Xuanji became the patriarch. In fact, there was nothing big to deal with. At this time, there were more than 300 monks in the Lu family. Family affairs were nothing more than planting spiritual rice, planting spiritual medicine, mining some minerals, giving lectures and preaching. On the whole, it presented a manner economy, and the economic model was self-sufficient, self-production and self-sales. The excess spiritual rice, elixir, talismans, etc. were sent to the shops in the market to sell for money and to subsidize the family. It was good to make money, but it didn't make much difference if you didn't make money. In the spiritual field, 10 acres of spiritual medicine were planted. When the breeze blew, the spiritual medicine was rippling, emitting bursts of medicinal fragrance. Pinch the seal and activate the small spiritual rain technique, and immediately the spiritual energy in the sky was condensed, turning into raindrops and scattering in the spiritual field. The spiritual rain entered the soil and quickly merged into the earth, nourishing the roots of the spiritual medicine. He activated the fireball technique again, turning into small balls that rolled on the ground, weeding and cleaning the pests near the spiritual medicine. After a long time, Lu Xuanji finished his work and breathed a sigh of relief. When he reached the foundation building stage, he still had to farm. It was just that the crops changed from the white yang rice and low-level spiritual medicines of the past to high-level spiritual medicines such as jade emperor rice, jade marrow ganoderma, heavenly spirit grass, 7-star grass, and 9-bend spirit ginseng. The cultivated land area also dropped from 100 acres to 30 acres. The monks also had to eat, and the food here was mainly white yang rice and white yang pills. Therefore, after the monks embarked on the road of cultivation, the first task was to learn how to farm, how to grow white yang rice, and how to refine white yang pills. Whether it was growing white yang rice or refining white yang pills, it was not too difficult. As long as they were not too stupid, they could learn it. After practicing a few more times, after the foundation building stage, Lu Xuanji still had to farm. Spiritual rice changed from white yang rice to jade emperor rice. Poplar rice is still useful for key training monks, but it is of little use to foundation building monks. Only jade emperor rice is good for monks. Eating jade emperor rice regularly can increase the speed of cultivation by more than 1 level, which is very beneficial to monks. Jade emperor rice is planted in the 10 acres of spiritual fields. It originally took 100 years to reach the peak of foundation building, but taking jade emperor rice every day only takes 90 years, or even shorter. The remaining 10 acres are mainly used to plant other high-level spiritual medicines. Some of these spiritual medicines are the main materials of foundation building pills, and some are medicinal materials for other second-level pills. They are very useful for foundation building monks. High-level spiritual medicines are difficult to plant and take care of. Only second-grade spiritual plant husbands can cultivate and plant them. Back then, the Lu family had a second-grade spiritual plant husband in charge. He planted a large number of second-grade spiritual medicines, making some materials for foundation building pills self-sufficient. The Lu family did not need to purchase foundation building pills from outside, but directly refined them themselves and supplied them to their own monks. They produced and sold them themselves, saving a lot of money every year. The extra foundation building pills can be sold to increase the family's income. But in the Battle of Xiang Mountain, the second-grade alchemist of the Lu family died, and the second-grade spiritual plant husband also died. When they arrived at Changyuan Mountain, the Lu family could only purchase foundation building pills from outside. Not only did it cost a lot of money, but there was no goods at many times. For the Lu family, the elder was a second-grade alchemist, and his father was also a second-grade alchemist. They could all refine second-grade pills, but the success rate was different. The difficulty lies in the lack of second-grade spiritual medicines. Many families do not sell spiritual medicines, but only spiritual pills. Because there are no second-grade spiritual medicines, Second grade alchemists like the elder and his father often stop working. It was not until not long ago that Spring Breezewood spirit art broke through to the great success, and Lu Xuanji became a second grade spiritual plant husband. Planting 30 acres is the best. 30 acres can meet the family's consumption. At the same time, it will not take too long and affect the improvement of cultivation. Planting spiritual medicines is important, but cultivation is more important. After taking care of the spiritual medicine, Lu Xuanji activated the formation to block it. He asked another family cultivator to take care of the spiritual field. Then, he walked back to the cave. In the center of the cave, there was a large tripod, which was called the Heaven Swallowing Tripod. The talismans in the Heaven Swallowing Tripod were surging, rising, and falling, attracting the spiritual energy vortex. A stream of spiritual energy entered the big tripod and turned into green spiritual liquid. The spiritual energy has no attributes, but after being absorbed by the cultivator's body, it is transformed into different attributes due to the spiritual root attributes. In the Heaven Swallowing Tripod, a foot-high green liquid has accumulated. The palm of his right hand turned into a suction force, and a stream of spiritual liquid immediately entered his stomach. After drinking several mouthfuls in a row, he circulated the green lotus creation art to refine the spiritual liquid. The spiritual liquid turned into a gentle force, soft and easy to absorb, and was being refined quickly. His cultivation was steadily improving. About 3 hours later, Lu Xuanji felt that his tension was swelling and his meridians were aching, so he stopped practicing. The speed of cultivation is still too slow. According to the qualifications of 3 spiritual roots, it takes 30 years to upgrade one level after building the foundation. Therefore, what Ancestor Jin said, that I can only build the 6th level of foundation before I die, is in line with reality. However, I have destiny deduction to deduce the practice that suits me, which is much faster and can save 5 years. I have the Bushanding to refine my true essence, which saves another 5 years. I have the spiritual liquid of the Shantunding, which can save another 5 years. Eating a bowl of Jade Emperor rice every day can save another 3 years. According to this calculation, it only takes 12 years to upgrade one level. This seems to be my limit. Lu Xuanji sighed slightly. Upgrading to 12 years, this is the limit. Is this slow? Not at all. Many 2 spiritual root cultivators have this speed. But compared to that person, it is much slower. Xiaoxu, are you okay outside? Are you full and warm? Are you in danger outside? Are you safe now? Chapter 103 Birth, Age, Sickness, and Death. Thinking of Xiaoxu, Lu Xuanji's heart was a little confused. At the beginning, Xiaoxu was like a little tail, often following behind him, and Lu Xuanji didn't think much of it, and sometimes even scolded her a few words. But when she left, he was worried. In Qingshu County, there is the order and rules of the Danliang sect. Even if it is killing or arson, you have to find an excuse, and you have to consider this and that. But in some places outside, there is no order. If you want to kill someone, just kill him directly. There is no reason, no excuse. His heart was a little confused, and he walked out of the cave, and his figure flashed to the top of Changyuan Mountain. Standing on the top of the mountain, looking down from a high place, overlooking the entire Changyuan Mountain. In the Lingshan Mountain, there are caves one by one, and on the periphery are squares, houses, medicine gardens, spiritual fields, etc., which are intertwined with each other, and appear to be in order. The entire Changyuan Mountain seems orderly and well organized. The originally chaotic heart gradually calmed down. The Lu family has more than 300 cultivators, plus the children living here, and the wives and concubines of mortals, etc. About 1,000 people. I'm the head of the Lu family, how can my heart be in chaos? Lu Xuanxin smiled, looked up at the starry sky, and couldn't help but ponder. Is this world round or flat, or is it a planetary model? Where is the fairyland? Is the fairyland a huge planet, or a special 4-dimensional space? Thinking about it, I couldn't help but be fascinated. At this moment, a young man's voice came. Chief, my father is dying. Lu Xuanji's mind was shaken, and he woke up from his trance. What happened? Lu Xuanji immediately stood up from lying on his back, and saw a young man calling him. His figure flashed, and Lu Xuanji approached the young man and asked, "What happened?" "My father is dying," Lu Xuanwen said. "Wait a minute." Lu Xuanji directly carried the young man and quickly arrived at a courtyard at the foot of the mountain. In the courtyard, flowers and plants were planted, and spiritual rice was planted, exuding a faint fragrance. Taking a deep breath, Lu Xuanji landed on the ground and knocked at the door. After a while, a concubine opened the door and said, "Master, the clan leader is here." Entering the room, Lu Xuanji saw an old man lying on the bed. His breath was weak, and his life source was fading. In 3 to 5 days, he would die. The old man was very old, already 103 years old. At this time, seeing Lu Xuanji coming in, he said, "Clan leader, you are here." "Uncle 17, I'm here," Lu Xuanji said. Uncle 17, named Lu Jinyuan, is of the same generation as his father. However, Lu Jinyuan's aptitude is not good. He only has 5 spiritual roots. He has only practiced for 100 years, and is only at the 5th level of key training. At this moment, it is the time when his lifespan is exhausted, and he is about to die of old age. "Clan leader, you are here," Lu Jinyuan said with a smile on his face. "That child doesn't understand things either. Why bother you for such a small matter?" The clan leader called him Uncle 17. But if he uses the name of Uncle 17 to take advantage of others and does not know how to behave, he is courting death. This clan leader was a genius in his youth. He was the foundation building seed of the family and was trained to be the clan leader. As for him, he only had 5 spiritual roots and was just getting by in the family. They were just nodding acquaintances and only talked to each other during festivals. That was all. To say that their relationship was deep was just overthinking. "Uncle 17, is there anything you are worried about?" Lu Xuanji asked. "You guys leave. I want to talk to the clan leader," Lu Xuanyuan said. Immediately, the 4 concubines and the son all left the room. Only the 2 of them were left in the room. "Haha, I've lived for more than 100 years, and I have some regrets," Lu Jinyuan said. "The biggest regret is that I only have 5 spiritual roots. It is too difficult for people with 5 spiritual roots to achieve something. When I was young, I was unwilling to give up and walked in the wilderness, wanting to get the adventures of my predecessors. As a result, I have been wandering outside for more than 20 years, unknown, without any achievements, and without any adventures, nor any relics of my predecessors. Later, I married 8 concubines to continue my descendants. Now, there is nothing I can't let go of. I won't say much about the 3 concubines who died. For the remaining 5, I will give some money and find some good families in the countryside to remarry. As for my 5 sons, 4 of them have no spiritual roots and live in the mortal world. They can't be said to be rich, but they have enough food and clothing, and I won't say much. As for Lu Xuanwen, he has 4 spiritual roots and his aptitude is better than mine, but it is limited. If there is an opportunity, let him build the foundation. If not, let him go. Children and grandchildren have their own blessings. Don't be a slave to them. By the way, these spirit stones are for the clan leader. Please take care of Xuanwen." As he said that, he took a bag and handed it over. Lu Xuanji didn't take it, but said, "Why bother? Clan leader, take it." Lu Xuanji was silent and took out the storage bag. There were only more than 1,000 spirit stones in it. A cultivator in the key training stage has an annual income of between 20 and 50 spirit stones. Even if there is more extra income, the income is limited. This 1,000 spirit stones is Lu Jinyuan's life savings. This 1,000 spirit stones was not given directly to his son Lu Xuanwen, but to him, as a way to win some connections for his son. "Thank you, clan leader." Seeing the clan leader accept the spirit stones, Lu Jinyuan breathed a sigh of relief. The Lu family is a family of immortal cultivation, and they are connected by blood as the hub. Compared with the cultivation sects, the relationship is much closer. But those blood relatives within 3 generations are still a little closer. How close can those relatives who are separated by several generations or even more than 10 generations be? And how much affection can they have? When you ask for help, you always have to give some gifts. This is basic etiquette. Don't ask the clan leader for too much help, just support him for some small things. A few days later, Lu Jinyuan passed away. He passed away in a very ordinary way. Only his son Lu Xuanwen, 4 concubines, and a few close people saw him off. As for other cultivators, after hearing the news, they just hummed to show that they knew. He passed away and died in obscurity. Standing in front of the grave, Lu Xuanji sighed slightly. Xuanwen, what are your plans? Lu Xuanji asked. Plans? Lu Xuanwen said, I'm only a 4 spiritual root, with neither good nor bad aptitude. If there is no great opportunity, I can barely cultivate to the peak of key training at the age of 100, but there is no hope of building a foundation. I plan to go out and look for some opportunities. Good. Young people should go out and explore. If you are tired outside, remember to go home. Lu Xuanji agreed. He directly handed over 3 talismans, 1 for attacking at the 2nd level of foundation building, 1 for teleporting 5 miles away and could be used to escape, and 1 for turning into a golden shield to resist the attacks of foundation building cultivators. These 3 talismans cost 1,200 spirit stones. Chapter 104 Purchase Foundation Building Pill. In front of the tomb, Lu Xuanwen knelt in front of his father and kowtowed respectfully. Dong dong dong. The sound was very loud. Then, he packed up his bag, looked back every 3 steps, left the Lu family, and went out to explore the world. Traveling the world is not for fun, but for finding opportunities. Looking for some opportunities outside, looking for some spiritual medicines, hunting monsters, or looking for some caves of predecessors. This is an opportunity to change your destiny. In this world, immortal monks, demon monks, monsters, etc. live together, fighting constantly, and there are many opportunities. There are often monks who put some skills or treasures in some mysterious places before sitting and dying, waiting for the destined person. There is a saying in the world of cultivation that, if one day you fall off a cliff and encounter a cave, don't panic. Take a few steps forward, you will encounter a treasure, and you will become the future Yuanying's engine. Such cases are not false, but there are many. Many strong people rely on adventures to rise and become Jiandan or even Yuanying. Of course, more cultivators are looking for opportunities outside, but they don't find them. Instead, they are robbed by others and killed for treasure. But there are still cultivators who are looking for opportunities outside, one after another. Try your best, there is still hope. Don't try your best, there is not much hope. I hope you can find opportunities outside. Lu Xuanji said. Resources are limited, and the family's resources are also used to cultivate 3 spiritual roots into spiritual roots first. As for the 4 spiritual roots and 5 spiritual roots, they just give some resources and choose to give up. It can't be blamed on the family's reality, but the resources are limited. Under limited resources, those with strong talents must be given first, and then those with average talents. No family or sect has unlimited resources. The Dandayang sect seems to be a big family, but in order to support the 3 Jiandan elders, it also consumes too many resources, and as a result, there are very few resources left for the bottom. The treatment of the true disciples and inner disciples is better, but the treatment of the outer disciples is much worse, and some are not as good as the disciples of the family cultivators. The family resources are insufficient to provide 4 spiritual roots, and there are too many 5 spiritual roots, so they can only rely on them to fight outside and look for opportunities. Lu Xuanji restrained his distracting thoughts and returned to the cave to practice. Chang'an Mountain has returned to peace again. Practice, inhale, and exhale spiritual energy, refined spiritual liquid to improve cultivation. With the help of the Bushanding, he tempered his body, tempered his true essence, and purified the purity of his true essence. In his spare time, he looked after the 10 acres of spiritual fields and spiritual medicines. Every month, he took out 1 day to preach to the family monks, and at the same time, he cleaned up the family's accounts and various income and expenditure. He also asked about the situation of the Great Elder's impact on the Purple Mansion. The news came that the Great Elder was in seclusion. Life is leisurely and stable. Time is like flowing water. In the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed. Whoosh. The aura on his body is changing, and he has reached the 4th level of foundation building. At this time, Lu Xuanji walked out of the cave. When he arrived in the lobby, there were already some monks delivering some accounts. Lu Xuanji flipped through the accounts counted some of them, and gave instructions on some of the income and expenditure. In less than an hour, the accounts were counted. Lu Jingxiu said, Patriarch, there are 3 cultivators in the Lu family who have reached the 9th level of key training and need foundation building pills. Who are they? Lu Xuanji asked, a little curious. 2 younger generations of the family, one is called Lu Daoan and the other is called Lu Daoling. Lu Jingxiu said, one is 52 years old and the other is 57 years old. Half of the spirit stones have been prepared, and the other half is still missing. Let's talk about it when we meet. Lu Xuanji thought. A moment later, 2 cultivators walked in. One was tall and had vicissitudes of life on his face. The other cultivator had a baby face and looked fat. The 2 bowed and said, Greetings, clan leader. I understand your situation. Lu Xuanji said, according to the family's rules, I will buy you foundation building pills. However, we need to check you to make sure that you are practicing the righteous way of cultivation, not the magic way of cultivation. Secondly, you have to repay the subsequent loans. Of course. Lu Daoan said. Lu Daoling also nodded in agreement. Lu Xuanji went forward to check. They all practiced immortal way of cultivation, not magic way of cultivation. They signed a contract again, which indicated the cost of the foundation building pill, how to repay, rights and obligations, etc. Both parties signed it in 2 copies. One copy was kept by the cultivator and could be kept with him. The other copy was kept by the clan leader and put in the secret cabinet. After everything was settled, Lu Xuanji got up and went to Xiang Mountain. When he arrived at the store, he met Liu Hangai again and directly expressed his idea of buying foundation building pills. Doi are very lucky. There happened to be extra foundation building pills in the store. Liu Hangai said, Doi, wait a moment. After a moment, he took out 2 pill bottles and handed them over. Lu Xuanji opened the bottle and carefully checked it. It was the foundation building pill, and the quality of the pill was qualified. Doi, please pay attention. Liu Hangai said, these 2 foundation building pills will expire in less than a year. It is best to take them as soon as possible. Thank you. Lu Xuanji said. Pills all have a shelf life. Expired pills have various problems. Either the amount of pill poison increases, or the efficacy decreases, or various problems occur. How is my elder? Lu Xuanji asked. He is in seclusion. He will not come out for 3 to 5 years. Liu Hangai said, but don't worry, with the master taking care of him, everything will be fine. There is no difficulty at all, but the resources spent are a bit high. Thinking about the resources spent, she felt a little distressed, but she couldn't say anything. 10 years. It's a bit long, Lu Xuanji thought. But when she thought about Xiaox who also spent 25 years to finally become a purple mansion master, she understood. 2 foundation building pills, calculated based on 40,000 merit points. The Lu family still has 30,000 merit points left. Liu Hangai said. Of course. Lu Xuanji nodded. The last time the Lu family fought in Beihu Mountain, they won 200,000 spiritual stones of merit. These merits will not be distributed directly in the form of spiritual stones, but can be exchanged for items purchased in the store. He said hello and left. Back to Changyuan Mountain, he greeted the 2 and handed over the foundation building pill. Lu Daoan and Lu Daoling were happy, took the foundation building pill, entered the cave, and began to retreat. Lu Xuanji sat directly at the door of the cave, waiting. After taking the foundation building pill, it will only take 3 to 5 days to break through the foundation building stage. Whether it succeeds or not will soon be known. Boom boom boom. After 3 days, a terrifying aura leaked out and then subsided. About half a day later, Lu Daoan appeared. His blood and ki were strong, his eyes were bright, and he looked particularly different. Success? Lu Xuanji asked. Success. Lu Daoan said. Okay. Lu Xuanji said, I will give you welfare benefits and arrange tasks later. But let's wait for Daoling to come out of retreat before we talk about other things. Half a day later, another blood and ki rose outside the cave. Later, it shriveled down. The cave was still closed. 3 days later, the cave was still closed. Lu Xuanji couldn't stand it anymore and opened the cave directly. When he saw Lu Daoling again, he was weak and exhausted. It was obvious that he failed to build his foundation. Patriarch, I failed. I'm sorry, Lu Daoling said. Take a few days off. Lu Xuanji said. That's all I can say. After taking the foundation building pill, there is only a 3-level probability of success, and it cannot guarantee that the foundation will be built. Every year, many people who take the foundation building pill still fail. Two cultivators of the Lu family attacked the foundation. One succeeded and the other failed. This probability is considered good. In fact, there is another option. That is, take the second foundation building pill, the third foundation building pill, and take more pills and you will succeed. Many cultivators from big families took 3 pills in a row to successfully build their foundation. Unfortunately, the Lu family had no money. After all, not everyone was as lucky as Hanli, who practiced dual cultivation with a female giant and cultivator before building his foundation, and took 8 foundation building pills. Chapter 105 The Great 5-Element Yin Yang Elemental Magnetic Universe Extinction Divine Sword. After a few words of comfort, Lu Xuanji left. After Lu Daoling failed in his foundation building, he was still burdened with heavy debts, and he had to pay off the debts for the rest of his life. He could not pay off his debts before he passed away. His descendants will have to pay off his debts for him. The world of cultivation is so cruel. As for giving him a second foundation building pill, there is no need to even think about it. Just after returning to the cave, I saw a cultivator waiting at the door. It was Lu Xuanwen. Xuanwen, do you have something to do? Lu Xuanji asked. Clan leader, I got some opportunities outside, and I want to exchange some merit halls and some resources from the immortal clan. Lu Xuanwen said. Really? Lu Xuanji said. You can exchange with the merit elders. The merit elders are strict and fair in doing things, and they will not take advantage of you. I'm afraid the merit elders can't hold it back. Lu Xuanwen said with a wry smile. Lu Xuanji frowned slightly, opened the cave, beckoned him in, then closed the cave and said, Speak, there is something to say now. Patriarch, when I was traveling outside, I found a scroll of magical powers in a cave. Please take a look. Lu Xuanwen said, handing over a jade slip. This is a jade slip. It seems to record special magical powers. Lu Xuanji took the jade slip, felt it carefully, and felt something different. Have you seen it? No. Lu Xuanwen said embarrassedly. There is a mysterious forbidden method on the jade slip. I can't break it. I'll try. Lu Xuanji urged his soul power and entered the jade slip. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, it was like the sound of the thunder god. The void changed, and the endless stars flickered and changed. In the starry sky, there stood a man with a white robe, a handsome face, and a sword like bro, standing with his hands behind his back. Standing in the dark universe, he looked lonely and calm. Suddenly, the man's figure was flashing, flying rapidly, urging the supreme secret technique, and the runes were fluctuating and changing, arranging, and combining. The 5-element runes, the yin and yang runes, the magnetic runes, the universe runes, the extinction runes, etc. These runes were combined together and turned into a long sword to chop down. Swish. With a violent sound, a planet was hit and turned into cosmic dust in an instant, dissipating between heaven and earth. Snap. At this moment, the illusion disappeared. The jade slip in Lu Xuanji's hand had been shattered and scattered on the ground. Words appeared in his mind one by one, evolving into a supreme magical power. Great 5-element yin and yang magnetic universe extinction divine sword. How is the clan leader? Lu Xuanwen asked. This is a supreme magical power. Lu Xuanji thought, if you sell it to Jiandan, you can get 2 million spiritual stones. If you sell it to Zifu, you can get 200,000 spiritual stones. But if you sell it to me, you can only get 20,000 spiritual stones. There was one more thing he didn't say. If he sold the jade slip to Yuan Ying's engine would pay 20 million spiritual stones to buy this supreme magical power. Then sell it to the family. Lu Xuanwen said, if you sell it to the Jiandan patriarch, I'm afraid that I will have the life to take the money, but not the life to spend it. Now, I don't have 20,000 spiritual stones. I only have 5,000, which can be put on credit. Lu Xuanji said. Okay. Lu Xuanwen said, "Can you give me some pills?" "Okay," Lu Xuanji said, opening the storage bag and taking out some pills. Lu Xuanwen took some pills happily and was very happy. With the help of such pills, it is possible that he can reach the peak of key refining before the age of 60 and apply to the family for the foundation building pill. "This is a deal with me, not with the family," Lu Xuanji said, with a serious look on his face. "This is a supreme magical power, which even the giant and ancestor may not have. If the news leaks out, the Lu family will be wiped out. Don't tell anyone about this transaction." "Yes." Sensing the emotions of the clan leader, Lu Xuanwen flashed a trace of uneasiness, but still nodded. "Let this matter rot in my heart." Lu Xuanwen retreated and left happily. The cave became quiet. Pinching his eyebrows, Lu Xuanji had a strange discovery that the method of practicing the Great Five Element Yin Yang Yuan Magnetic Universe Extinction Divine Sword in his mind was being forgotten bit by bit. It seemed that a strange force was erasing his memory. Only 3 days later, Lu Xuanji had forgotten most of the content of the Great Five Element Yin Yang Yuan Magnetic Universe Extinction Divine Sword and only remembered 1/10,000th of the content. Is this the supreme magical power? Only if you understand its true meaning can you remember it. If you don't understand the true meaning, you will only forget it. Lu Xuanji suddenly thought of a rumor. Any technique has a threshold. They cannot be recorded on paper and require a special Dao monument to carry the content. After viewing the Dao monument, the cultivator will remember as much as he understands. If he wants to remember everything, he must understand it all. If he does not understand it, he will soon forget the content on the stone tablet. He only remembers 1/10,000th of the content of Great Five Element Yin Yang Yuan Magnetic Universe Extinction Divine Sword, just because this 1/10,000th is exactly what he understands. The cultivator remembers the content, but he cannot speak the words and pass it on to others. Unless he practices to perfection, he can try to engrave it on the Dao monument. Other cultivators can understand and learn it by watching the Dao monument. At the moment of loss, Lu Xuanji turned on his mobile phone. The mobile phone recorded the specific practice method of Great Five Element Yin Yang Yuan Magnetic Universe Extinction Divine Sword, which involved 500,000 words, as well as some talismans, some pictures, etc. The mobile phone can actually bypass the rules and restrictions of the Dao monument. Lu Xuanji was delighted. A supreme magical power fell into his hands and was recorded and analyzed by the mobile phone. This supreme magical power, Great Five Element Yin Yang Yuan Magnetism Cosmic Extinction Divine Sword, involves a variety of powers. It is necessary to integrate different powers, including the power of gold, fire, water, earth, wood, yin, yang, yuan magnetism, universe, extinction, and other 11 powers, and combine them to evolve into a supreme magical power. It is very difficult, starting from the nascent soul. A nascent soul master is qualified to practice, and whether he can practice successfully depends on luck. If the cultivation level is lower than the nascent soul, there is no need to think about it. Lu Xuanji is only at the foundation building stage and cannot practice at all. Not only that, Lu Xuanji can see this supreme magical power, but he cannot teach it to others and cannot speak or write about this skill. Unless one day, he practices Great Five Element Yin Yang Yuan Magnetism Cosmic Extinction Divine Sword to perfection, he can teach it to others. Analyze the phone, Lu Xuanji said. The phone was ringing and jammed. In the process of fate deduction, this skill is the supreme magical power. It requires the concentration of 10 million runes to transform into the supreme divine sword, which is considered a small success. It cannot be practiced for the time being, but the supreme magical power can be split into 6 major magical powers, including the 5-element sword, yin and yang sword, yuanzi sword, yaozi sword, zhaozi sword, and extinction sword. The 6 major magical powers are gradually cultivated to perfection, and finally combined together to become the supreme magical power. The supreme magical power cannot be practiced. Lu Xuanji can only look at the great magical power, but still frowned, because it cannot be practiced. The magical power is essentially a combination of runes, which evolves into a supreme spell. The minor magical power involves runes ranging from 10 to 1000 runes. The major magical power involves runes ranging from 10,000 to 1 million runes. But the supreme magical power involves at least 10 million runes. The number of runes involved in the Great 5-element yin-yang elemental magnetic universe extinction divine power has reached 99,999,999,999, and it is only one rune away from entering the 100 million level. It is only one rune away from evolving into a fairy art. Among the supreme magical powers, it is also top level. Chapter 106 The Great Elder enters the Purple Palace. Disassemble again. Xuanji said. Under destiny deduction, this supreme magical power was forcibly disassembled into 7 great magical powers. The 7 great magical powers were disassembled and turned into 7,000 small magical powers. There are more than 200 wood-attributed small magical powers. Some of these wood-attributed magical powers focus on attack, some focus on reverse poison, and some focus on auxiliary fusion. Here, any small magical power has the power of Spring Wind Wood Spirit Art. So that's it. One after another wood-attributed magical powers entered his head and continued to evolve. Xuanji fell into enlightenment. In his Danshan, one wood talisman after another rose and fell, a total of 107, and there was still one missing. One missing is perfect. Because of the missing one, the Spring Wind Wood Spirit Art is only a great success, but not perfect. Only one is needed to be perfect. But it was stuck, and it was difficult to be perfect. Not only him, but many cultivators who practiced the Spring Wind Spirit Wood Art also fell into such a dilemma. It is easy to get started with the cultivation of Spring Breeze Wood Spirit Art. As long as you are not too stupid, you can condense a wood talisman, which is considered to be the entry point. It is not difficult to achieve a small success, you just need to endure time. 30 years is not enough 50 years. After all, you can achieve a small success. As for the great success, it requires understanding and time. Xuanji spent 35 years to cultivate this small magical power to the great success. As for perfection, relying on qualifications, understanding, etc. is not enough. You need enlightenment. You need metaphysics. It is something that can only be understood, not explained. 3 days later, Xuanji opened his eyes and laughed. So that's it. This is the perfect Spring Breeze Wood Spirit Art. The 108th wood talisman appeared in the Danshan. With the perfection of Spring Breeze Wood Spirit Art, Xuanji also became a 3rd grade spiritual plant husband. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in the medicine garden. The perfected Spring Breeze Wood Spirit Art was urging, and waves of wood spirit power were infused into the jade marrow. The branches and leaves were swaying, and it seemed to be giving a brisk cheer, becoming more spiritual. The golden texture on the leaves became deeper. The leaves grew a little bigger. About a quarter of an hour later, Xuanji's true essence was exhausted, but his face was full of joy. The perfected Spring Breeze Wood Spirit Art has brought me so many benefits. I feel that my lifespan has increased by at least 20 years. I can live to be 260 years old. With the help of the spiritual power of plants and trees, I can temper my body. The potential of my body is improving. In the past, it took 12 years to improve one level, but now it only takes 10 years to improve one level. I'm a 3rd grade spiritual plant husband. I can ripen spiritual medicines and accelerate their growth. Xuanji was happy. At the 1st and 2nd levels, a spiritual plant husband was nothing. But at the 3rd level, he could ripen spiritual medicines and accelerate their growth. At that time, he was no longer called a spiritual plant husband, but a spiritual plant master. High-level spiritual plant masters are very important to the immortal cultivation family. Jadeite is the main material of the foundation building pill, and it takes at least 300 years to be used as medicine. Pure yang grass is the main material of the pure yang pill, and it takes at least 1000 years to be used as medicine. Xiang flower, xylene grass, etc. are the main materials of Xiang pill, and it takes at least 2000 years to be used as medicine. Nirvana flower is the main material of nirvana pill, and it takes at least 3000 years to be used as medicine. But the lifespan of Zifu is 480 years, the lifespan of Jiandan is 1000 years, and the lifespan of Yuanying is 2000 years. Could it be that those Jiandan ancestors and Yuan Zhenjin waited for hundreds or even thousands of years for a spiritual medicine, and waited until their lifespan was exhausted, and it was still not mature. It is impossible and unrealistic. So, there are spiritual plant masters. Spiritual plant masters can not only plant and cultivate high-level spiritual medicines and spiritual fruits, but also activate spells to ripen spiritual medicines. In order to test his level, Xuanji began to ripen first-grade spiritual medicines, second-grade spiritual medicines, and even third-grade spiritual medicines. Spiritual medicines also have a lifespan, with a seed period, a growth period, a maturity period, and a death period. Spiritual medicines are harvested mainly during the maturity period. The evaluation of the grade of spiritual medicines mainly depends on its growth period. The higher the age, the higher the grade. The first grade spiritual medicine has a lifespan of several months to 10 years. The second grade spiritual medicine has a lifespan of 10 years to 500 years. The third grade spiritual medicine has a lifespan of 500 years to 5,000 years. The fourth grade spiritual medicine has a lifespan of 5,000 years to 10,000 years. As for the fifth grade spiritual medicine, it is more than 10,000 years old and is extremely rare in the world of cultivation. It is also called the king of medicine. First, ripen the first grade spiritual medicine white orchid. This flower can be used to refine auxiliary elixirs. It can only be used as medicine after 8 years of growth. Use the spring breeze wood spirit technique to ripen it. The growth rate of the white orchid is accelerating. It can only be used as medicine after 8 years, and it can mature in just 5 months. Then ripen the second grade spiritual medicine Jade Marrow Ganoderma, which can only be used as medicine after 300 years, and it is mature in just 30 years. Then ripen the third grade Pure Yang Grass, which can only be used as medicine after 1,000 years, but it takes 200 years to mature. Continue to experiment and draw conclusions. The lower the grade, the faster the ripening. The higher the grade, the slower the ripening. Specifically, the first grade spiritual medicine ripens at a speed of 20 times, the second grade spiritual medicine at a speed of 10 times, and the third grade spiritual medicine at a speed of 5 times. The first grade spiritual medicine is low in price and has low ripening value, so it is not suitable. The third grade spiritual medicine is high in price and has a long growth cycle, so it is not suitable either. The second grade spiritual medicine has the best cost effectiveness. However, considering the future, some third grade spiritual medicines can also be ripened, but the premise is to enter the purple mansion and increase the lifespan to 480 years. The Lu family is blessed. As long as I'm alive, I can mass produce foundation building pills in 30 years. As long as I live to 200 years later, I can mass produce pure yang pills and purple mansion pills. Xuanji thought and calculated the planting plan. Plant 30 chalcedony mushrooms. Plant 15 each of pure yang grass, hydrangea, and purple yang grass. 30 acres of spiritual fields. Plant spiritual medicines. These are enough. There are too many, and he can't plant them all. It will also delay the time for cultivation. Planting spiritual medicines is to make money. Making money is for cultivation. Cultivation comes first, and planting spiritual medicine always comes second. Because planting spiritual medicine delays cultivation time, it is not worth it. Second grade spiritual medicine seeds, third grade spiritual medicine seeds, etc. all need to be purchased. Xuanji pondered. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, another 3 years passed. On this day, the elder returned, exuding a terrifying aura. The aura was like a mountain, shocking the sky. The blood was like the sea, unfathomable. Congratulations to the elder, entering the purple mansion period. The Lu family has once again returned to its peak. Xuanji stepped forward to congratulate. My Lu family has given birth to another purple mansion master. Haha, even if he dies, it is worth it. Father Lu Jinwen laughed. He laughed very happily. He had experienced the heyday of the Lu family, when they ruled 8 counties, had more than 1,500 cultivators, and were a well-known purple mansion immortal clan. He had also experienced the Lu family's downfall, when Xiang Mountain was breached. The Lu family's foundation building cultivators were beheaded, and the remaining key training cultivators were as panic-stricken as dogs that had lost their homes. Now, the Lu family has given birth to another Purple Mansion Master Cultivator, and the restoration of the former heyday is just around the corner. All this is thanks to Ancestor Jin, who paid a huge price to allow me to enter the Purple Mansion realm. The elder said, from now on, my Lu family will be loyal to Ancestor Jin and follow his lead. If we do not follow, we will be punished by heaven and earth. In the past, the Lu family had only 3 or 5 foundation building cultivators, and they were not even qualified to be chess pieces. But now, with the elder entering the Purple Mansion, he has become an important chess piece of Ancestor Jin. But what about chess pieces? If the family can be revitalized, and a Purple Mansion Master Cultivator can be born, the Lu family will not mind being chess pieces, and fighting for them. Chapter 107, Urging Marriage. The elder entered the Purple Mansion, and the whole family was rejoicing. This kind of joy was like a country in the previous life that had created an atomic bomb. The country with the bomb and the country without the bomb were almost 2 different countries. Even if the so-called bomb was small, it was of great significance. For specific reference, Ukraine with the bomb and Ukraine without the bomb. The birth of a Purple Mansion Master in the Lu family was of great significance to the deterrence of other immortal cultivation families. This significance could not be replaced by 20 foundation building cultivators. The elder's lifespan was just over 200 years, and he still had more than 200 years to live, which meant that he could still protect the Lu family for more than 200 years. As long as the Lu family did not commit suicide, they would be almost safe. Suddenly, the Lu family held a banquet and celebrated enthusiastically. This kind of excitement was like the new year. Fine wine, spiritual medicine, spiritual fruit, etc. were brought up one after another, and they ate and drank happily. Lu Jingxiu said, now that the great elder has become a Purple Mansion, we should invite the Yi family, the Wu family, the Sun family, the Zhao family, the Kan family, etc. to hold a banquet for the whole world. When a foundation building cultivator is born in the family, we should hold a banquet for the whole world. Now that a Purple Mansion cultivator is born, we should celebrate it with great fanfare. Lu Jinwen also said, back then, my Lu family transferred a lot of industries to the Yi family, the Wu family, etc. for a safe transition. Now it's time to get some of them back. Lu Daoan also said, it should be so. The great elder did not respond, but asked Lu Xuanji directly, Xuanji, you are the patriarch, what do you think? I think we should keep a low profile. Lu Xuanji said, at the beginning, my Lu family had just suffered a disaster of annihilation, and it was at a low point. Therefore, after Xiaoxu and I entered the foundation building stage, we had to hold a banquet for the whole world, show our generosity, and show our majesty. Only in this way can we deter some unstable factors. But now, the situation of my Lu family is improving. We don't need to deliberately show our majesty. Instead, we need to keep a low profile, so as not to overstimulate those families. As for some of the family's industries, you can take back some of them, but it's best not to ask for some. Of course, this is not the most important thing, but how to distribute the salary after the elder enters the Purple Mansion. The second grade spiritual veins are not enough, and the spiritual veins need to be upgraded, but there is still no money. He counted on his fingers, and began to talk about some family matters. Keep a low profile. After the elder enters the Purple Mansion, he also needs to practice and upgrade, which requires money, which increases expenses. But how to increase expenses is another big problem. In the past, in order to make a safe transition, some industries were given to the Yi family, the Wu family, etc. Now that the Lu family has the Purple Mansion, can they ask for it back? Some of it can be taken back, but most of it can't be taken back. The most difficult thing is to take money out of other people's pockets. There are some weak cultivator families nearby, but can the Lu family take action to rob these families of their industries? No. If they really take action, not only will they violate the rules of the Danliang sect and break the unspoken rules, but they will also suffer hostility from the surrounding immortal cultivation families. The current situation of the Lu family is like the rabbit country in the previous life, which has nuclear bombs, and can truly stand up. It is not afraid of threats from other countries, but it still has to keep a low profile, and avoid making enemies everywhere. The elder listened and nodded. Xuanji is right. I have become a purple mansion cultivator, but I'm only at the first level of purple mansion. My combat power is average in the same realm. If there is an industrial dispute with other families or a sword fight, I can't win. As for the 4 foundation building cultivators of the Lu family, only Xuanji can fight them. As for the others, forget it. My Lu family has the purple mansion, but it is just to gain a foothold. It has no capital for arrogance. The purple mansions of the Yi family, the Wu family, the Sun family and other families cannot be defeated. They also have more foundation building cultivators than our Lu family. The Lu family is very weak now. It is mainly stable, not blindly expanding. Seeing the elder say this, everyone nodded. They all changed their positions and agreed with Lu Xuanji. Father Lu Jinwen was even more relieved. This was the elder standing up for Xuanji. The elder is old and has entered his old age. He has little time left, so he began to give up some power to Xuanji. But as the elder entered the purple palace, his lifespan increased greatly. Who knows if his mind will change and if he will think about taking power again. If the clan leader disagrees with the elder or even conflicts violently, then will the elder veto the clan leader, or will the clan leader dismiss the elder? Fortunately, the elder has no intention of taking power. Lu Jingxiu said, but there is an extra purple palace in the family, and the number of foundation building monks has increased accordingly, and various expenses are also increasing, but now there is no money in the family. Everyone had a slight headache. No money. Money is important, but the distribution of money is more important. As the saying goes, it is not the lack of money that is worrying, but the uneven distribution. There are many incidents of conflicts and even family collapse due to uneven distribution. Resources are limited. Should we give priority to keep training monks, buy more foundation building pills, and increase the number of foundation building monks in the family? Or should we tilt resources towards foundation building monks and let them upgrade faster? Should we give more resources to lower level cultivators, or to upper level cultivators? If we give lower level cultivators fewer resources, they will be dissatisfied. If we give lower level cultivators more resources, upper level cultivators will be dissatisfied. The distribution of these benefits is a big problem. If it is not handled properly, the family will be alienated at best, and a family civil war will occur at worst. In the previous life, many relatives fought each other for the inheritance of the elderly. In this world, many immortal families became enemies because of the distribution of benefits. If there are only more than 20 cultivators in the immortal family, the blood relationship is close, and there are fewer people and fewer troubles. Even if the distribution is unfair, the problem is not big, but like the Lu family, a family that has lasted for 1,000 years, with more than 200 cultivators, many of whom have weak feelings, a bad distribution will be a big problem. This is also the biggest problem Lu Xuanji faces after becoming the patriarch. This problem could have been covered up and controlled. But with the entry of the Great Elder into the Purple Mansion and the increase in the number of foundation building cultivators, the problem will continue to expand and even intensify. The family resources are insufficient, so we can only increase income and reduce expenditure. The elder said, reducing expenditure is not possible for the time being, but increasing income depends on you, Xuanji. Everything depends on you. As he said that, the elder smiled. Elder, I planted some spiritual herbs to supplement the family income, but it will take some time. Lu Xuanji said. That's not what I'm talking about. The elder smiled. Xuanji, you should get married and have a Taoist partner. At this point, the elder seemed to think of something and directly scolded Lu Jinwen. You are Xuanji's father. You should be in charge of your son's marriage. Xuanji is not in a hurry, so you should be in a hurry. As long as he marries a female cultivator from the Yi family will send a dowry, and my Lu family will be rich again. Being scolded by the elder, Lu Jinwen lowered his head and was speechless. His son has grown up, and his father can no longer control him. Chapter 108, Urging Marriage. In the hall, the topic was shifting. After the elder scolded Lu Jinwen, he said again, 3 years and 3 years. How many 3 years? You still haven't married. The ancestor of the Yi family, Yi Liuan, came to the door in person, but this is a Purple Mansion ancestor, but you are dragging it. 3 years. 3 years. Are you so arrogant that you look down on the women of the Yi family? Your mother is also a female cultivator of the Yi family. Lu Xuanji listened and was silent. Come over here and talk. The elder seemed a little angry and left first. Lu Xuanji followed closely. When they arrived at a cave, there were only 2 people left. The elder said, Xuanji, if you have any ideas, just speak up. Nothing, it's just that women will affect my speed of drawing the sword. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, without women in my heart, I will naturally draw the sword with magic. What magic? The elder sighed. Is it that you can't let go of Xiaoxu? Yes. Lu Xuanji said. Alas. You two are not suitable to be together, mainly because you are not worthy of her. The great elder said, after becoming a purple mansion, I entered the library of Ancestor Jin, read some books, and learned some things. The more I know, the more ridiculous I feel for my ignorance. What is a heavenly spiritual root? It is the Son of God. At the beginning, you didn't know how lucky you were to pick up a heavenly spiritual root. A heavenly spiritual root, as long as it does not die young, is almost certain to become a golden core, and the probability of becoming a nascent soul is also higher than that of other cultivators. Even after becoming a nascent soul, the speed of cultivation is higher than that of other cultivators. Let's not talk about the long term, just talk about the things in front of us. She is 72 years old, and she is already a purple mansion cultivator, and you are 72 years old, only the second level of foundation building. This gap will continue to widen with the passage of time. In the future, she will become the golden core ancestor, the nascent soul true lord, and you still have some hope for purple mansion. As for the golden core, it is impossible. Dream on. The words of the great elder were cold and cruel, telling a cruel fact. Cinderella is worthy of the prince, because Cinderella was born into an aristocracy. But how can a security guard be qualified to marry the daughter of a female CEO? Lu Xuanji gritted his teeth, but didn't know how to start. When playing games in his previous life, Jianden was nothing. It was just a soldier in the novice village, just a little better than cannon fodder, a fighting chicken among weak chickens. But in this world, I know the dignity of Jianden monks. Only one Jianden monk may be born in 1 billion humans. With a lifespan of 1,000 years, watching the ebb and flow of the tide, it can be said to be an ancestor level existence. Zifu, he still has some hope. But Jianden, the hope is too slim. When you become old, and look like an old man, she still looks the same, like a young girl in her 20s. Do you think she will still love you at that time? Will she still think about having sex with you in bed? The ancestor said. His words were like a knife. When I was young, I was lustful, and took in 6 concubines. But decades later, those 6 concubines were old, and looked like old women, but I was still as young as a 20-year-old man. Do you think I will still be interested in them? You are not worthy of her. You should forget her. But I still can't forget her. Lu Xuanji said. You can't forget, that's because you haven't experienced enough. When you experience more, you will naturally forget it. The elder said, when you arrive at the Yi family and find a suitable Taoist partner, you will forget it. Elder, I think it's good to live alone. Lu Xuanji smiled. That's because you are still young. In a few years, you won't think so. The elder smiled. This year, you are already 91 years old. You are not young anymore. It's time to leave descendants. A life without descendants is an imperfect life. Without descendants, who will remember you when you die? Got it. Lu Xuanji nodded, but he didn't care at all in his heart. He didn't want to listen to the turtle chanting. The next day, when Lu Xuanji was about to practice, there was a noise at the door. He went forward to open the door, and it was his father Lu Jinwen. Father, son, do you have time? Yes. Then drink some wine. Okay. Just like that, in the cave, the spiritual wine was placed. After pouring the wine, the father took a sip first. Lu Xuanji also took a sip. Xuanji, how long have we not had a drink together? Asked the father. Lu Xuanji thought, probably decades. It's my fault. I should spend more time to accompany my father to drink. Many times he was too busy and had no time to accompany his parents. Xuanji, you have grown up too, said the father. I still remember that when you were a child, you were very naughty, but you grew up in the blink of an eye, and I can't control you in many things. In the past, when Xuanji was still young, if he was unhappy with his son, he could just spank his little butt. But when he grew up, he could only hit people with a stick. Later, when Xuanji became a foundation building person, he could no longer hit people with a stick. When Xuanji became the patriarch, he even spoke more politely and did not dare to speak too aggressively. Speaking too aggressively would damage the dignity of the patriarch. Xuanji, how old are you? Asked his father. 91 years old. Lu Xuanji said. 91 years old. You are not young anymore. It's time for you to get married, said his father, and began to urge him to get married again. Lu Xuanji felt a little overwhelmed and felt like a turtle chanting sutras, and he didn't want to listen. His father said again, Xuanji, how old am I? Lu Xuanji was slightly stunned and said, father is almost 190 years old. No, I'm 215 years old. Father said. Hearing the numbers, Lu Xuan felt ashamed. Many children can't remember their father's age. He seemed to have forgotten it too. The average lifespan of a foundation building cultivator is 240 years. If they are injured in fighting, or injured in practice, etc., their lifespan will be shorter, and they may not live to 240 years old. The father spoke, with nostalgia and memories in his words. I calculated that I can live for a maximum of 20 years, or less than 10 years, or even tomorrow. I feel that my body functions are declining, and my ki and blood are declining. Although I'm still at the 4th level of foundation building, I can't even beat a cultivator at the 2nd level of foundation building. I have reached old age, and I'm not far from sitting in meditation. Father, I will buy you a longevity pill. Lu Xuanji said. A trace of worry and melancholy flashed in his eyes. Usually he was busy with cultivation and had no time to pay attention to his father, but now he saw that his father had more white hair and more wrinkles on his head, and his ki and blood were declining. Like the sunset sun, the light was getting dimmer and dimmer. The life extending pill costs 100,000 spirit stones, which is too expensive, and I can't afford it. His father smiled and said, even if you buy it, it will only extend your life by 20 years. For me, living 20 years more, or 20 years less is almost the same. Father, Lu Xuanji said, and then he realized that his father was old. In another 20 years, he will leave the world. For a cultivator to survive, one is to take life extending pills, and the other is to break through the realm. There is no need to think about the life extending pill. Breaking through the realm is also impossible. My father's aptitude is not good. He is only at the 4th level of foundation building. The distance to the purple mansion is long, and there is no hope at all. Birth, aging, sickness and death are the common sense of human beings. The father said calmly, the life of a cultivator is not a peaceful life, but a life of battles. The lifespan for building the foundation is 240, and one has to fight with independent cultivators, monsters, and demon cultivators. Very few can actually live to over 200 years old and die of old age. I can live to over 200 years old and sit at home. It is not a sad thing, but a great joy in life. Don't cry. Why are you crying? You are the head of the Lu family. Why are you still crying like a child? He couldn't help but scold his son when he saw him crying. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 Blind Date. In the cave, the wind was howling. Picking up the wine glass and taking a sip of wine, Lu Xuanji flashed a trace of melancholy. The tears were gone, and how many tears were there in life? The road to immortality is a lonely road. His father said, many people look forward to immortality and pursue immortality, but who knows that immortality is poisonous. If you live for 200 years, you can still find a few acquaintances, but after 500 years, your relatives have passed away, and there is no familiar old friend. After 1,000 years, your relatives have passed away, and your enemies have also passed away, and the whole world is silent, and you are alone. Daoist companions are partners on the road of cultivation. Most of them are not much different from their own qualifications, so that they can rely on each other on the vast road of life. I have roughly looked at those female cultivators. They are either second level spiritual roots or third level spiritual roots. They are top level qualifications and can be expected to have a purple mansion in the future. They are your best Taoist companions. Don't refuse. This is good for you and the family. Okay. Xuanji nodded. It is hard to say whether they can have a purple mansion. There is a probability of one level, and one can achieve the purple mansion great renovation, which is called purple mansion Kiki. There is a probability of 9 levels, and one can become a purple mansion great renovation, which is also called purple mansion Kiki. But the gap between them is huge. His father had said this, and he could not refuse at all. Life, after all, is not a Kyang drama, and love is not the first. In his life, he ranks first, his parents rank second, Xiaoxu ranks third, and love may only be fourth. Then tomorrow, let's go to the Yi family. The father said, I will accompany you. Obviously afraid that his son would perfunctorily do things. Okay. Xuanji nodded. Just like that, things were settled. At night, the father happily went to report to the elder. The elder smiled excitedly, and a trace of joy flashed across his face. After advancing to the purple mansion, he was a little uneasy after the joy, because the foundation of the Lu family was too shallow, and it could not withstand the impact of the Yi family, the Wu family, the Sun family and other families. Although the Jin patriarch would protect the Lu family and give the Lu family some help, this kind of help was limited. This requires the Lu family to make more allies. The Yi family is an ally. Thinking of this, the elder opened the communication order, activated the rune, and began to transmit the message. I have returned to the Lu family and just entered the purple mansion. After waiting for 10 breaths, the message from Yi Liuan came. Congratulations, fellow Taoist, you have achieved the great cultivation of the purple mansion and your lifespan is 480 years. Looking at the message on the token, the elder smiled and was very happy. In the past, when I met Yi Liuan, I would call him senior, but now I call him fellow Taoist. The Yi family and the Lu family should get married. The elder said. That's right, in 3 months, you can let Xuanji come to my Yi family. Okay. Do you need to prepare anything? No, you may need to compete with the Wu family, Zhao family, Qian family, Sun family and other Xuanji. Got it. After closing the token, the elder had a slight headache. At that time, we will have to fight and fight. It was a matchmaking conference, but it was also a competition for the geniuses, and it was also a time to measure the foundation of the major families. By now, the interests of the major cultivation families in the 12 counties of Danyang sect have been distributed, and their strength is relatively balanced and stable, and it is impossible for a major war to occur. At least family wars and Zifu death battles will be stopped by Danyang sect. Therefore, the confrontation and fighting of the younger generation has become particularly important. From the confrontation of the younger generation, the future pattern of the cultivation world is determined. However, Xuanji is not inferior to others, even if the second spiritual root is not as good as Xuanji. The elder thought of this, and became more determined in his heart. Soon he got the news that he could not go to the Yi family tomorrow, but 3 months later, he breathed a sigh of relief. 3 months later, he went to the Yi family. His father Lu Jinwen was traveling with him. It seemed that his father was worried about him, and was afraid that he would run away halfway on the way to the blind date, so he simply accompanied him, and went to the blind date together. Xuanji had no choice but to agree, so the two set off. Walking on the road, suddenly, a terrifying gust of wind blew up, and the world seemed to have entered darkness. Woo woo woo. The wind was blowing. Within a radius of 10 miles, it was all dark. Buzz buzz buzz. At this moment, a golden token appeared in the storage bag. It was the token left by the ancestor Jinzi. This token flashed with golden light, like a sun rising in the void to dispel the darkness. But the darkness still permeated and enveloped the 4 directions. Swish. Xuanji drew his sword and looked around vigilantly. At this moment, a female cultivator walked out of the darkness, like an elf of the night, with a perfect figure, white and smooth skin, exquisite facial features, eyes like stars, and standing barefoot in the air. This road is blocked. The female cultivator said. Killer? Lu Xuanji frowned slightly. The Xuanji family needs to be decent and will not fight bloody battles, so there are black gloves to do dirty work. Could it be that someone wants to kill him halfway? Killer? No. The female cultivator said, it's just that this road is blocked. You'd better not go to the Yi family for the marriage. Father, be careful. Lu Xuanji said, urging the Lihuo sword to stab and kill. The sword light was like fire, and the sword energy was like flames, turning into a phoenix sweeping over. Why do you want to compete with me? The female cultivator snorted coldly, and the green sword in her hand trembled. The aura on her body burst out, and the cultivation of the 7th level of foundation building was radiated, causing the void to vibrate, and turned into a gust of wind sweeping over. The green sword burst out, and a series of wind blades formed in the void to stab and kill. The wind blades were like knives, cutting in all directions. The wind blades were like snow, sweeping in all directions. In an instant, it seemed that a strong wind blew all over the sky, accompanied by heavy snow. The wind and snow mixed together and turned into rolling waves, sweeping over. Not good. This is a wind spirit root. This is the 7th level of foundation building. The father was worried and even more uneasy. Wind spiritual root, belonging to the special spiritual root, second only to the heavenly spiritual root, has extremely terrifying qualifications, and the speed of cultivation is even more terrifying. In battle, the combat effectiveness of wind spiritual root cultivators is also above that of other spiritual root cultivators. My son is only at the 4th level of foundation building. What can he use to fight? At this moment, accompanied by a crisp sound, the phoenix was broken, but the edge of the Lihuo sword was sharper, like a butcher cutting a cow, cutting through the endless wind and snow. The wind blade was burning, and turned into nutrients for the Lihuo sword. Sizzle. The Lihuo sword stabbed at the female cultivator's neck, less than 3 feet away. The female cultivator urged the green sword to cut. Ding dang. With a crisp sound, the green sword was pushed open, and the Lihuo sword was still unstoppable, like a sword cutting meat, stabbing towards the center of the eyebrows. The murderous aura was approaching. The female cultivator felt the death aura. She opened her mouth and spit out a shield, which emitted a golden light. But at this moment, the Lihuo sword clanged and hit the shield. The shield made a violent noise, and under the huge impact, the female cultivator vomited blood. Swish. In the next moment, behind the female cultivator, Lu Xuanji appeared. He held the cauldron in his right hand and smashed it towards the female cultivator's head in the air, without any mercy. My life is over. A trace of despair and fear flashed in the eyes of the female cultivator. Have mercy. At this moment, an old man in grey appeared and waved his fist to block. Bang bang. The fist collided with the cauldron again. The cauldron was hit violently, and Lu Xuanji retreated 10 steps. His blood was churning, and he was about to spit out blood. But he held the teleportation talisman in his hand, approached his father, and was about to escape. The grey-robed old man said, "Young friend of the Lu family, we are not enemies." Chapter 110 Remarks on the release. It will be available tomorrow. Please subscribe here. There are 3 modes of cultivation. Chapter 111 Yi Yu. 3 conditions. The old man said this, but Lu Xuanji was still alert. The old man took a step back and said, "I'm Yi Quanwen, and this is my granddaughter Yi Yu. The Yi family and the Lu family are getting married, and Yu is one of the candidates. Maybe in the near future, she will be your wife, and we will be a family. How to prove your identity?" Lu Xuanji asked, but he was alert. Who knows whether the cultivator opposite is a human or a ghost? Just a few words. He just believes it. That's stupid. "This is my identity token." Yi Quanwen smiled and threw a token directly, saying, "You can use this token to ask the Yi family to prove everything." Swish. When the token flew over, Lu Xuanji did not reach out to catch it, but controlled the true energy and controlled it remotely. Open the token and check it carefully. Yi Quanwen looked at this scene and was very satisfied. In the world of cultivation, nothing can be taken lightly. Lu Xuanji is so cautious that he can live a long life in the world of cultivation. Checking the token is not broken, and the soul aura is similar to the old man, cutting off the possibility of forgery. "Greetings, senior." Lu Xuanji returned the token and said respectfully, "Not bad, not bad." The foundation is very solid, without any vanity, and the true essence is as pure as a knife. Yi Kuan-wen commented, very satisfied. Just so. Lu Xuanji said calmly, Grandpa, I want to talk to this fellow Daoist Lu about some private things. Yi Chen-Ayu said, her tone soft, like a peerless beauty. Haha, that's right, leave some private space for you young people. Yi Kuan-wen smiled and greeted his father Lu Jinwen. Walking away, the two began to chat, leaving the private space for the two young people. Dao, come this way. Yi Chen-Ayu smiled, her chest slightly raised, with a hint of feminine charm. Okay. Lu Xuanji nodded. After walking a few dozen steps, the two arrived under a big tree. Waving his hand to block the view with smoke, and to isolate the sound of the outside world, leaving a private space. At this time, Yi Chen-Ayu was wearing a black dress, tall and plump, with long black hair, delicate features, and a charming aura. She was worthy of the name of Shen Yu. Dao, how old are you? Yi Chen-Ayu said. 92 years old. Lu Xuanji said. I'm older than you, 125 years old. Yi Chen-Ayu said. Daoist friend, this is our first meeting. You may not be familiar with me, but I'm familiar with you. My grandfather specially brought me to meet you halfway, so it's like an advance blind date. Yi Chen-Ayu said, if you want to become my Taoist partner, you need to meet 3 conditions. Lu Xuanji asked curiously, what are the conditions? Yi Chen-Ayu said, first, you have to defeat me head on. I don't like men weaker than me. This world is a world of the jungle, and the weak cannot protect me. You defeated me just now, which meets the first condition. Lu Xuanji asked, then what is the second condition? Yi Chen-Ayu said proudly, my future Taoist partner must be a purple mansion cultivator. To become a purple mansion cultivator, one must first become a purple mansion seed. In the Yi family, the standard for becoming a purple mansion seed is to have a 3-level probability of becoming purple mansion. Unfortunately, I can't meet the second condition. Lu Xuanji sighed. Fellow Daoist, you have reached the 4th level of foundation building at the age of over 90, which is not inferior to the second spiritual root. Your true essence is pure, your foundation is deep, and you are not superficial at all. You have a 3-level probability of becoming a purple mansion, which is considered a purple mansion seed. It can be considered to meet the second condition. Yi Chen-Ayu said. What is the third condition? Lu Xuanji asked directly. The third condition. Yi Chen-Ayu sighed. I want my future Taoist partner to love me, and not mess with other women for the rest of his life. Really? Lu Xuanji said. That's a pity. I'm a lustful person. If I give up sex, what's the point of seeking immortality and freedom? I need at least 3 Taoist partners. No, at least 5. I have an alien spiritual root, not as good as a natural spiritual root, but my aptitude is also top-notch. Now, I'm still a virgin, practicing a top-notch dual cultivation technique. If you promise not to mess with other women, I'm willing to lend a hand to you in overcoming the difficulties of the Skyfire and the Nightmare Wind. Yi Chen-Ayu frowned, but still said, if you break through the purple mansion, you can increase the probability by 2 levels. To cultivate immortality, what you seek is freedom, and great freedom. Lu Xuanji shook his head and said, if you don't enjoy freedom, and are not comfortable, you don't have this purple mansion. You bastard. Yi Chen-Ayu cursed and turned away. When she got outside, she cried. Yi Kuan-wen looked at this scene, sighed, and didn't know what to say. Goodbye, Lu Xuanji said, and left with his father. Walking on the road, his father asked, Xuanji, did it work? No, Lu Xuanji said. Why? Said his father. People look down on me. Lu Xuanji said, only the Lu family treats me as a treasure, but in the outside world, a mere 3 spiritual roots is nothing, just a genius. They have different spiritual roots, and I have 3 spiritual roots. Are we worthy? His father said, although you have 3 spiritual roots, you have a high level of comprehension, comparable to 2 spiritual roots. TSK, don't flatter yourself. Lu Xuanji said. That's right. His father nodded. In this way, the two continued to move forward. Yi Kuan-wen, Yi Chen-Ayu and others were behind, keeping a distance from each other, neither close nor distant. 3 days later, they arrived at Kangshan. The ancient peaks are light blue, and a faint pressure is exuded. On the mountain, a great killing formation was set up. Not to mention ordinary purple mansion cultivators, even golden core cultivators could not break through Kangshan Mountain in a short time. This is the Yi family of Qingshu County, one of the 4 branches of the Yi family. In Qingshu County, the history of the Yi family is longer than that of the Lu family, and more purple mansion cultivators were born. 1 to 2 purple mansion cultivators were born in each generation. The extra purple mansion cultivators would go to the main branch to practice, leaving 1 to guard the branch. In the Yi family, each branch is connected to each other, and the friendship between them is deep. When one party is in trouble, all parties will help. Go directly to the manor at the foot of the mountain, where there will be a blind date meeting for generals. Walking on the road, Xuanji saw some strangers. These are the young generation of Xuanji of the Wu family, Sun family, Qian family, Zhao family and other immortal cultivation families. They are all outstandingly talented and the backbone of the family. Father, they are here too? Xuanji asked. With more people, it will be easier to choose a suitable husband. The father also smiled and said, at this time, the people who came to Kangshan are not only the Yi family of Qingshu County, but also the other 3 branches and the marriageable women of the main branch Yi family. It would be best if you can find a suitable Taoist partner here. If you can't find one, you can also exchange tokens, so that you can get along well in the future, and confirm your feelings. Marriage is inevitable, but who the marriage is uncertain. The major immortal cultivation families need marriage to strengthen their relationship. The result is a marriage. As for who the man and woman are in this process, it is actually not important. They will not force a woman to marry someone. Chapter 112 The purpose of the marriage. In the manor at the foot of the mountain, guests gathered together and were entertained by the monks of the Yi family. On the table, forged from purple spiritual wood, there were spiritual wines and spiritual fruits. Xuanji sat beside the table and saw a monk coming in from the door, and then another monk. These monks had already established their foundations, and they were heroic and extraordinary. That's where I met your mother, his father said, as if he was reminiscing about the past. There are a lot of people. Do we have to fight in the arena? Xuanji asked. That's not necessary, his father said, but the men who come for a blind date should show their talents and show their excellent side. When choosing a Taoist partner, it is best if the spiritual root level is not too different. If the spiritual root attribute difference is too large, the woman can only be a concubine and the man can only become a son-in-law. The status of a concubine is below that of a wife and above that of a maid. Many female cultivators with poor qualifications can only cling to those powerful monks and become concubines if they want to achieve something. Similarly, some excellent women who do not want to marry outside can only recruit sons-in-law. The son-in-law lives in the woman's house, and the woman provides some spiritual stones, elixirs, etc. The status is low. Of course, the low status is only relative. In the world of cultivation, the strong are respected. If the concubine, son-in-law and others have strong qualifications and strong cultivation, who dares to despise them? In the world of cultivation, strength is everything. As for status, order and the like, they are just accessories of strength. It is better to control people with strength than with status. The Yi family has many outstanding women, but the elder will not allow you to be a son-in-law. When you come to the Yi family, marriage is the main purpose. As for who the woman is, it doesn't matter. There will always be one suitable for you among hundreds of women. The father said the principle of blind date. I understand. Xuanji nodded. It is impossible to be a son-in-law. It is impossible to be a son-in-law in this life. Father, is there anything I should pay attention to? Xuanji asked. Show your talent. The father said, I know you have some adventures and some hidden cards, but there is no need to hide these adventures and hidden cards. Because those seniors have greater adventures and more treasures, and they don't even take your little things seriously. You should show your talents to the fullest, because only by showing your excellent side will you be attracted and valued, and only then will excellent women like you, and become your Taoist partner. In the eyes of those seniors, there are 2 most important things. One is the improvement of their own cultivation, and the other is the continuation of the family. In the continuation of the family, discovering some excellent talents, attracting them as allies, and making connections can make the family develop for a long time. The father urged. In the world of cultivating immortals, many families are wiped out every year, and many family cultivators become casual cultivators. Even the giant and patriarch cannot guarantee which will happen first, an accident or tomorrow. The Lu family suffered 2 disasters of extermination, but they survived because of their past connections. Connections are not very useful at critical moments, but they are very useful at times of crisis. Lu Xuanji nodded and understood in his heart. Such a blind date conference is not only a blind date, but also a place to build connections. How to build connections? First of all, you have to show your excellent side, so that other monks can see the side that can be invested and won over, so that you can gradually interact and build connections. If you perform mediocrely, those monks will disdain to invest, and naturally there will be no connections to speak of. At this time, a maid came forward and said, "My lady is there, to invite you to go." Lu Xuanji hesitated and said, "It doesn't seem good to be alone." When he got here, he was extremely cautious in his words and deeds. Beware of being tripped up by someone. My lady is in that position. It is the safest place under the watchful eyes of the public. The maid said, pointing to a corner. There is a garden in the east. There, dozens of graceful beauties sat. Some of them were cold and noble. Some were delicate and lovely. Some were pure and charming. Some were beautiful and moving. And some were wearing veils and their true faces could not be seen. They were all beautiful women with the qualifications of the realm of beauty, and they were all at least 80 points. They are all the blind date objects this time. My young lady is at that table. The maid pointed to a table. At that table, there was a white-clothed female cultivator, tall, with plump breasts, crystal clear skin, a peerless appearance, and a scholarly temperament. Her black and white eyes were as bright as gemstones. She looked here and nodded slightly. Lu Xuanji stood up, walked to the table, and sat on the chair next to it. Dao, what's your name? Lu Xuanji asked. Yi Binggan. The female cultivator spoke, and the moment she spoke, she exuded a terrifying aura, which was the aura of the 9th level of foundation building. Lu Xuanji was slightly surprised. This was a demonstration. Dao, this is our first meeting, but I'm very familiar with you. Yi Binggan said, 7th aunt, you want me to be your Taoist partner. However, I already have a lover. If you want to marry me, it is not impossible to let the 2 families marry. In front of outsiders, we can pretend to be a loving couple. In private, you play yours, I play mine, and we don't interfere with each other. How about it? In this way, the Lu family can also gain the friendship of the Yi family, and both of us will go a step further. Not so good. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, you are really good at playing. I'm different. I'm selfish. Since you have become my Taoist partner, both your body and mind belong to me. As for playing with each other, I can't accept the noble play of the nobles. It's better to change someone. That's good. Yi Binggan said, but when the blind date meeting comes later, you have to be the first to reject me and say that you don't like me. Why can't you reject it? Lu Xuanji asked. I dare not reject the kindness of my 7th aunt. Yi Binggan said, and when he mentioned 7th aunt, a trace of fear flashed in his eyes. Who is the 7th aunt? Lu Xuanji asked. The main branch, Yi Zhu. Yi Binggan said, with a panicked tone. Lu Xuanji asked, isn't marriage based on mutual consent? If you reject me, will you be driven out of the family? That's not the case. The family is very free. But it seems free, but there are only a few suitable candidates. You don't know that the 7th aunt is very scary. I dare not reject the 7th aunt. Yi Binggan said. Lu Xuanji shook his head and thought of how he met Yi Zhu in Xiang Mountain. At that time, Yi Zhu didn't seem to be anything special, just a little tempered, and liked to act like a child. I know, I will be the first to reject tomorrow. Lu Xuanji said. It's just a change of marriage partner, no big deal. Chapter 113 Spiritual Roots Level 5. After talking for a while, Lu Xuanji left. He readily agreed to Yi Binggan's request. It was no big deal. Yi Binggan was a stunning beauty, but the thing that was most lacking in this world was stunning beauty. What he lacked was strength. As long as he was strong enough, he could get any beauty. Seeing Lu Xuanji leave so readily, Yi Bingyan breathed a sigh of relief. But in the next moment, a divine thought came. Yi Bingyan's face changed slightly, and he stood up and went to a private room. In the private room, a man in white was sitting upright. Yi Bingyan said stiffly, "Meet father. You rejected Lu Xuanji." The father asked directly. "Yes." Yi Bingyan said stubbornly, "I like Brother Wu, and Brother Wu is my true love. Pa." The father stepped forward and slapped him directly. Yi Bingyan's right cheek suddenly turned red and swollen, but she still said stubbornly, "I like Brother Wu. Besides, I have 2 spiritual roots, and Lu Xuanji only has 3 spiritual roots. He is not worthy of me. You don't understand." Yi Horan said, "People are 99% similar and only 1% different. But it is precisely because of that less than 1% difference that it is the difference between ordinary people and geniuses. People like us are shallow-minded and can only see the 99% of Lu Xuanji. Only Ancestor Jin can see the 1%. Because of Ancestor Jin's appreciation, the Yi family is marrying Lu Xuanji. You are one of the candidates for marriage. Yi Chenyu is also one of the candidates for marriage. Yi Xiaoxiu is also one of the candidates for marriage. And Yi Wanai is also one of the candidates for marriage. Not long ago, Yi Chenyu refused, and you also refused. Now there are only two female cultivators with different spiritual roots. 2 female cultivators with 2 spiritual roots. Choose one of them to be his Taoist partner. Father, is it worth it?" Yi Bingyan said unwillingly. "It's worth it. Of course it's worth it." Yi Horan said, "Marriage is the way of survival of my family. It's ancient and effective. If Lu Xuanji becomes the son-in-law of my Yi family, he will help my Yi family. There is no immortal dynasty in the world, nor is there an immortal family. If Lu Xuanji can help my Yi family, it will not be in vain at this time." Yi Bingyan said disdainfully, "My Yi family has the Chindan Patriarch sitting in charge, who can destroy my Yi family? Is the Chindan Patriarch very powerful? Is it very powerful? But it can't be said to be invincible." Yi Horan said, "Over the years, haven't there been many Chindan families, and Yuan Ying families destroyed? Many. Cultivators should be prepared for danger in times of peace." Yi Bingyan said unwillingly, "Father, just a word of appreciation from the Chindan Patriarch. There is this marriage. It's too ridiculous. Just a word from the Chindan Patriarch is enough." Yi Horan said calmly, "Father, I will also become a Chindan master in the future." Yi Bingyan said confidently, "I hope so." Yi Horan said with a smile, without undermining his daughter's self-confidence. Many times, the closer the distance, the more disappointed. When he was still a key training cultivator, he felt that the Chindan ancestor was nothing, and he had a 10-fold chance of becoming a Chindan, and when he became a foundation building cultivator, he had a 7-fold chance of becoming a Chindan master. When he became a purple mansion cultivator, he had a 3-fold chance of becoming a Chindan, but when he reached the peak of the purple mansion, he had a 1-fold chance of becoming a Chindan. But when he became a half-step Chindan, there was no hope of becoming a Chindan. Back to his seat, Lu Xuanji ate the spiritual fruit. Thinking about the conversation just now, being well matched is extremely important for cultivators. Here, being well matched, family background is only secondary, and spiritual root attributes are the first. This marriage seems to be a mutual choice between men and women. Male cultivators can choose suitable female cultivators, and female cultivators can also choose suitable male cultivators. If they like each other, they can become Taoist companions. But in fact, at the time of selection, they try to choose spiritual root attributes that are not much different, and qualifications that are not much different. 3 spiritual roots will choose 3 spiritual roots. A person with 2 spiritual roots would choose a person with 2 spiritual roots. The room for choice seems to be very large, but in fact it is very limited. However, he only has 3 spiritual roots, but he was asked to choose a female cultivator with 2 spiritual roots, which seemed to be a bit too high a value on him. There was no conversation that night. When he woke up the next day, good wine and good food were served. After eating and drinking, the head of the Yi family appeared and said, "We cultivators cultivate immortality for immortality, but we also have to contribute to the family and leave offspring for the family. No matter how much wealth the family has, if there is no son to inherit the inheritance, can it be abandoned in the wilderness and given to the destined person? Our human race is already sparsely populated, not as good as the demon race. If all of you are obsessed with cultivation, have no time for marriage and love, and don't know how to leave offspring, our human race will not be far from extinction. My Yi family organized this blind date conference so that everyone can find a Taoist partner. If you can become a Taoist partner here, it would be the best. If not, you can leave your contact information afterwards and get along with each other, and it may become a marriage. I won't say more. The blind date conference begins. The first stage is to test the spiritual root qualifications of each person. The head of the Yi family said, taking out 3 light balls. These 3 light balls can detect the level of spiritual root attributes in more detail. Xuanji thought of what his father told him yesterday. In the world, there are no completely similar leaves, and leaves that look similar are also ranked. Some of them have 3 spiritual roots, but some are inferior, and their qualifications are only slightly stronger than those of 4 spiritual roots. Some are top level, comparable to 2 spiritual roots. Because of the different spiritual roots, they are divided into 5 levels: inferior, general, excellent, top level, and extremely excellent. I'll go first. At this moment, a cultivator stepped forward and pressed his palm on the 3rd light ball. The light ball was flashing and occupied 1/5 of the area. 3 spiritual roots are inferior. The clan leader commented, waving and handing over a sign with 3 spiritual roots are inferior engraved on it. Another cultivator stepped forward and went forward to test. The result was 3 spiritual roots are average. Then, one cultivator after another stepped forward to test. After the test, they handed out a sign to record the results. Interesting. Xuanji looked at the light ball and was slightly surprised. He was amazed at the Yi family's clever methods, which could distinguish the advantages and disadvantages of spiritual roots in a more detailed way. In the past, when the Lu family tested spiritual roots, they could only roughly detect 2 spiritual roots, 3 spiritual roots, and 4 spiritual roots. As for the superiority and inferiority of the same spiritual roots, it was difficult to distinguish. Most of the cultivators who came forward for testing were at the foundation building level, and most of them had 3 spiritual roots. As for those with a cultivation level lower than the foundation building level, lower than the 3 spiritual roots, they were not qualified to participate in the blind date conference. Wu Zian, 2 spiritual roots are average. At this time, a voice came. Xuanji looked and saw a young man standing in front of him. His blood and energy were like the rising sun, and he was already at the 5th level of the foundation building level. Chapter 114. First impression. Swish. The young man took the token and stood aside. Because of the difference in spiritual root qualifications, many people subconsciously dispersed, and those with the same qualifications gathered together and formed small groups. Wu Zian stood alone in a row. The inspection continued, and soon another second spiritual root appeared. Without waiting for a moment, another second spiritual root appeared. Soon the team of second spiritual roots was increasing, and there were 5 second spiritual root cultivators standing there. They were quite lonely, but they became the focus of the scene. Xuanji, it's your turn. The head of the Yi family said. Xuanji stepped forward and pressed his palm on the 3rd light ball. Suddenly, the light ball was flashing, and soon the light occupied the entire light ball. Not bad. 3 spiritual roots. Excellent. The head of the Yi family said. Xuanji nodded and stretched out his hand to ask for the token. The head of the Yi family said, don't worry, put your palm on the 2nd light ball. You have 3 spiritual roots, which are excellent, and you may be comparable to the 2nd spiritual roots. Let's test it. Okay. Xuanji nodded and put his palm on the 2 light balls. But the light balls were brighter and occupied 1/5. Then, they occupied 2/5. Then, they occupied 3/5. Finally, they slowed down a bit, occupied 4/5, and then stopped. You have 3 spiritual roots, but you are comparable to the 2nd spiritual roots. You are a monster. The head of the Yi family seemed to be looking at a monster, and threw a sign directly. Taking the sign, Xuanji stood in the team of the 2nd spiritual roots. The test continued, and the team of more than 200 people was soon tested. 3 spiritual roots inferior was 10 people. 3 spiritual roots average was 230 people. 3 spiritual roots excellent was 10 people. 3 spiritual roots top was 3 people. And 3 spiritual roots excellent was 1 person. 2 spiritual roots inferior is 1 person. 2 spiritual roots average is 3 people. 2 spiritual roots excellent is 1 person. And 2 spiritual roots top is 1 person. The 9 teams were separated, and because of their different qualifications, they were scattered in different areas. Xuanji was alone, standing in the 2 spiritual roots top area, like a tiger standing among wolves, standing out and outstanding. Many cultivators looked at Xuanji with complicated expressions. Some were jealous, some were resentful, some had murderous intentions, and some were curious. Hahaha, although my son has 3 spiritual roots, he is comparable to spiritual roots top. The father was so happy that he almost sang a song. Many of these blind date cultivators will become sons-in-law of the Yi family. But the value of the sons-in-law of the Yi family is different because of their different qualifications, and the treatment is also different. Originally worried that his son had 3 spiritual roots, he might not be as good as those 2 spiritual roots cultivators, but now it seems that the 2 spiritual roots cultivators are not as good as his son. Interesting. I have a different spiritual root, and my spiritual root qualification is also 2nd spiritual root excellent, the same as his. It's a pity that he is not my lover. Yi Cheniu pondered, and a trace of surprise flashed across her face. Different spiritual roots, in terms of cultivation speed, are similar to those of 2nd spiritual roots, but their attack power is higher than that of 2nd spiritual roots. He is only 3rd spiritual root excellent. How can he be comparable to 2nd spiritual root top? I have seen many 3rd spiritual root excellent, all of which are said to be comparable to 2nd spiritual roots, but in fact they are not as good as 2nd spiritual roots, not even as good as 2nd spiritual root extremely poor. Is it that the instrument is broken, or is he cheating? In a corner of the garden, Yi Bingyan was thinking with a solemn expression. He thought that the instrument was broken, but he quickly denied it. It's impossible. The instrument had just been tested yesterday. As for cheating, it's even more impossible. Cheating under the eyes of so many Purple Mansion cultivators is impossible. But he is only 3rd spiritual root excellent. How can he be comparable to 2nd spiritual root top? How is it possible? Is the instrument broken, or is he cheating? Yi Liuan happened to see this scene on the rooftop, and couldn't help but speak. He was full of doubts, but after the doubts, he just smiled bitterly. The instrument is broken, impossible. Cheating, even more impossible. So that's it. The woman next to him spoke up. She had a veil on her face, her body was graceful, her skin was like snow, and her weapon was charming. 7th aunt, is he cheating? Yi Liuan asked. It's not cheating, but I found something special about him. 7th aunt said, old ancestor Jin is really good. He can tell the depth of this person at a glance, but I'm much worse. But he is only 3 spiritual roots excellent. How can he be comparable to spiritual roots top? Yi Liuan expressed his doubts. I couldn't understand such doubts, and couldn't sleep at night. He is very special. 7th aunt smiled. He is special in 3 points. First, his soul power is very strong, 3 times that of his peers. Second, his spiritual roots are well matched. Third, he has a high level of comprehension, and his self-created skills are perfectly matched with himself. The skills are feeding back to the spiritual roots, and promoting the perfect growth of the spiritual roots. With the superposition of these 3 factors, his qualifications are somewhat terrifying. Spiritual roots will grow and optimize after birth. After practicing, cultivators will also feed back to the spiritual roots, and improve the properties of the spiritual roots. Such examples are rare, but they are not isolated. To achieve this, the only way is to have skills that are completely in line with oneself, which is difficult. He is a bit abnormal. Yi Liuan was shocked. 3 times that of his peers. What a powerful soul power. Even if he is only a foundation building cultivator, his soul power is comparable to that of a Purple Mansion cultivator. He created his own skills and perfectly fits himself. How high is his comprehension? 7. Thought was thinking about Xuanji's comprehension. Some cultivators have poor spiritual roots, but outstanding comprehension. They are often good at fighting, and rarely encounter bottlenecks. The advantages are not obvious in the early stage, but they are huge in the later stage. Everyone was shocked. After being shocked, they suspected that the instrument was broken or cheating. Some people were suspicious. In order to convince everyone, the head of the Yi family went forward to check, but there was no problem with the instrument. The results were real. The head of the Yi family said, the second item is to test talents. Men must learn to support their families, learn to cultivate the arts, make money by cultivating the arts, and accumulate resources. Now you can show your talents to your heart's content. Alchemist, here we are, to test your alchemy. At this time, the alchemist of the Yi family appeared, and began to test everyone. The topic of alchemy is to refine a Baiyang pill. The Yi family alchemist said, the simpler the elixir, the more it tests the basic skills and the talent of the cultivator. Baiyang pill is very easy to refine. Not to mention you alchemists, even casual cultivators at the first level of key training can refine it. Here, you need to use 1 pound of Baiyang rice as the material to refine Baiyang pill. It depends on whose pill has lower toxicity and higher quality. Dozens of cultivators appeared, each took out the alchemy furnace, poured in Baiyang rice, and began to refine. Xuanji also took out the bushanding, poured in Baiyang rice, and began to refine Baiyang pill. Chapter 115 The Yi family female cultivator. On the square, the flame was burning under the alchemy furnace, and the white yang rice was poured into it, making a hissing sound. At this time, there was no earth fire, and the only way to maintain the flame of the alchemy furnace was to burn the true essence. As for those monks who did not have the fire spirit root, they simply took out the fire starting talisman, turned it into a flame as the flame of the alchemy furnace, and began to refine the elixir. Generally speaking, alchemy requires 2 spirit roots, fire and wood, and is the most suitable for being an alchemist. But many monks do not have fire spirit roots or wood spirit roots, and can also become alchemists, but correspondingly, their difficulty is doubling. Hiss. The flame is burning. The soul turns into silk, like a thread, entwining the white yang rice, and adjusting the temperature of the flame. This temperature must be just right. If the temperature is too high, the white yang rice will burn, but if the temperature is not enough, the white yang rice cannot be melted. With the roasting, the impurities in the white yang rice are swept away, and the essence is left, turning into drops of water. Then these water drops condense together, and under the compression of soul power, they begin to turn into the initial pill. As the pills took shape, the flame temperature was adjusted. At the same time, the soul was used as a pen to start carving talismans on the pills. The talismans led the spiritual energy filled the body, and the pills turned into pills. The whole process of refining pills was not complicated or difficult. The complexity was the subtle super control of the flames, and the difficulty was the persistence of the soul power. Kai. At this moment, the pills had taken shape. But it was not over yet. There was still one last step, to clean up the pill poison. At this time, there was a lot of pill poison in the formed pills. As an alchemist, you have to clean up the pill poison before you can take it. If there is too much pill poison, the pill is not only useless, but harmful. Taking a pill with too much pill poison will kill you. Pills are divided into low grade, medium grade, high grade, and top grade. If the pill poison occupies 1/1000th of the dosage, it is considered a low grade pill. If it occupies 1/10,000th of the dosage, it is a medium grade pill. If it occupies 100,000th of the dosage, it is a top grade pill. If it occupies 1/1,000,000th of the dosage, it is a top grade pill. As for elixirs without elixir poison, they do not exist. All medicines are 3/10ths toxic. Many elixir poisons are evolved from the power of the medicine, and it is impossible to clear them. To talk about toxins without considering the dosage is just a hooligan. Living in the world, monks are exposed to various toxins every day. Even some toxins invade the air, but as long as these toxins do not accumulate to a certain dosage, they will not harm the monks. As for the delusion of living in an environment without toxins, it is impossible. There must be toxins in the elixir. As for elixirs without elixir poison, they do not exist either. However, the lower the proportion of elixir poisoning the elixir, the more beneficial it is for the monks, and the higher the frequency of taking it, the more it can be taken. On the contrary, the higher the proportion of elixir poisoning the elixir, the lower the frequency of taking it, and the shorter the interval. The lower the elixir poison, the more expensive it is, and the price will be several times, or even 10 times the difference. Baiang pills are extremely easy to refine, and any monk can refine them. But it is precisely because of the low difficulty and simple refining that the level of the alchemist can be seen. Whoosh! The spiritual fire is burning, clearing the elixir poison. At the moment of condensing the pill, the poison was 1%. Now, with the burning of the spiritual fire, the poison became 1,000th. Then, the poison became 1/10,000. It continued to increase again, and the poison reached 1/10,000. The poison dosage was 1/10,000, which was equivalent to 10/10,000. On this basis, the poison continued to decrease, but when it decreased to 4/10,000, it stopped. This was the limit of his alchemy. If he continued to clean the poison, the pill would be damaged. Forget it, let's just leave it at that. Xuanji thought, and was about to stop. But suddenly he thought of something, and directly opened the small space of the pill furnace, and shot out a stream of Kibushan into the pill furnace. Buzz buzz buzz. The Baiang pill was changing drastically, and the poison was decreasing. 3/10,000, 2/10,000, 1/10,000. Sensing the poison dosage, Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. The poison was 1/10,000, which was a top grade pill. However, it was not over yet, and the poison continued to decrease by 10/10,000, 9/10,000, and 8/10,000. Only then did the quality of the elixir stop improving. In the garden, flowers were in full bloom. The female cultivators of the Yi family, wearing veils, were looking at the cultivators below. There was curiosity in their eyes, but more of shyness. These people might be their husbands. The first round was to test the cultivator's qualifications, the second round was to test the cultivator's arts, the third round was to test his comprehension. These were all for the female cultivators to better observe and choose their future husbands. The Yi family needed a marriage alliance, but this kind of marriage would not be a simple forced matchmaking, and would not be rude and disregard the wishes of the women of the Yi family. Many cultivators were gathered here, and 3 rounds of competitions were held to demonstrate their talents, and to select each other, and find the other side that suited them. These female cultivators subconsciously formed groups of 3 or 5, separated into circles, chattering with each other, and pointing at the cultivators below. There are more than 200 cultivators coming this time, but less than 10 are qualified to become purple mansion seeds. The petite and gentle female cultivator spoke with admiration in her words. The way to cultivate immortality depends on aptitude and resources. The resources provided by the family are limited after all. If one is proficient in all arts, even if one's aptitude is a little worse, there is still hope to enter the purple mansion. Unfortunately, those people have been reserved. We don't have much hope unless we are willing to sacrifice our reputation and become concubines directly. It's better to be a concubine of a genius than a wife of an ordinary person. I'm afraid that the genius has high standards and doesn't look down on us. 7 or 8 female cultivators pointed and discussed. Especially those 2 spiritual root cultivators. They are the focus of attention. Those 2 spiritual root cultivators can be called excellent Taoist companions. But most of them have been reserved. They have no hope of becoming Taoist companions, and even concubines are not much. This world is cruel. Many times, to be the concubine of those geniuses, you also need a certain network of people, a certain beauty, and a certain talent to be qualified to be a concubine. In another circle, a group of female cultivators were discussing. There are many cultivators present, but only a few are famous. Wu Xiaoan from the Wu family, Sun Chao from the Sun family, Qian Zuantan from the Qian family, Zhao Wuling and Zhao Wuming from the Zhao family, and Lu Xuanji from the Lu family. They are all geniuses of the younger generation, all have second spiritual roots, and are all purple mansion seeds. In the future, there is a third level of hope. to become Purple Mansion Masters. A tall, slender female cultivator said with a sweet smile, such young heroes are only Chenaiu, Bingan, and Sister Linglang. You are worthy of them. As for the others, they are much inferior. Sister Linglang, who would you choose among these 6? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116. The pill becomes the best. In the middle of the garden, there was a stunning female cultivator. She was elegant and graceful, sitting on a stool, like the center of the crowd of female cultivators. Her name was Yi Linglang. Yi Linglang smiled and said, the Wu family has the greatest family background, with 3 Purple Mansion ancestors in charge, 1 ancestor traveling far away, 1 ancestor in seclusion, to break through to the Golden Core, and another ancestor staying at home. But there are more than 300 foundation building cultivators, and the family is the richest. But the disadvantage is that Wu Xiaoan was born a bastard and has no great background in the Wu family. He only relies on his qualifications to gain the support of the family ancestors. The Sun family specializes in elixirs and also has the medicinal materials business in the 10,000 mountains and has some connections with the ancestors of the Sun family. Sun Cheo is only 120 years old, but he has already reached the 9th level of foundation building, and he is the grandson of a Purple Mansion ancestor. The disadvantage is that his qualifications are relatively poor, only 2nd spiritual root inferior. Qian Zuantong, from the Qian family. The Qian family has only 2 foundation building cultivators, and the family is weak, but he is a true disciple of the Danliang school, and he worships the Golden Core ancestor. His own cultivation is not bad, and he is at the 6th level of foundation building. The Zhao brothers both have 2 spiritual roots. One is a 2nd grade alchemist and the other is a 2nd grade weapon refiner. They all come from the Purple Mansion clan. Lu Xuanji, from the Lu family, has 3 spiritual roots. A Purple Mansion cultivator was born not long ago. The Lu family can be said to have become a Purple Mansion clan again. However, the foundation is shallow. There are only 5 foundation building cultivators in the family. It seems that due to insufficient resources, the lowest cultivation level is only the 4th level of foundation building. These 6 people are all good. I want to marry them all. But how can a woman marry 6 husbands? Bingan, which one do you choose? Yi Bingan said, I choose the young master of the Wu family. Chenaiu, which one do you choose? Yi Linglang asked. Yi Chenaiu pondered and said, young master Sun has 18 concubines in his cave. Young master Qian has no concubines, but he has ambiguous relationships with 2 senior sisters and junior sisters, and has relationships with 3 female cultivators outside. He is playing both sides and dares not admit it. He is not honest. The Zhao brothers practice the pure Yang Sutra. They cannot lose their virginity until they become golden elixir. They are not suitable for me. Young Master Lu is suitable for me, as long as he promises not to take concubines in the future. Yi Linglang smiled and said, there is no man who is not lustful. Those who have made great achievements must have great desires. Once a great emperor of the demon sect had more than 300 Taoist companions. Even in our Yi family, some foundation building elders have 7 or 8 wives and concubines. It is impossible for you to be a couple for life. Xiaoxiao, which one do you choose? Yi Xiaoxiao said, I choose young Master Lu, because he looks the best. Yi Bingan said, Linglang, which one do you choose? Yi Linglang said, I choose the leader of the 3 levels. Yi Xiaoxiao listened with envy in her eyes. According to the family rules, the female cultivators of the family must choose to marry before the age of 150, or recruit a son-in-law, to leave offspring for the family. Even if we refuse this blind date and the next blind date, how many times can we refuse? Unless you become the ancestor of Zifu before the age of 150. Only Sister Linglan can become a great cultivator of Zifu before the age of 150. Many female cultivators listened, feeling sad. Born in a family, you must contribute to the family. Marriage is inevitable. If you don't choose this one, you have to choose that one. Only cultivators with outstanding qualifications are qualified to not worry about family rules. Rules are to restrain the weak, and the strong break the rules. If there is a prodigy in the family who can break the family rules, the ancestor of the family will not be angry, but will laugh happily 3 times. At this time, the refining of Bayang pill was completed. From the beginning of refining to the end of refining, it took less than 10 minutes. Everyone, take out the pills and put them in this bowl in order. It will show the quality of the Bayang pill, the Yi family alchemist said. He waved his hand and threw down a stone bowl, which was as big as a wash basin. There were talismans engraved on it, which looked ancient and profound. I'll go first. A cultivator took the pill and threw it into the bowl. Immediately, light flashed and words appeared. Poison in the pill. 998 out of 10 million. Medium quality. Are you convinced by the quality judgment? Asked the Yi family alchemist. I'm convinced. The cultivator nodded and stepped aside. When the pills are out of the furnace, the alchemist can roughly infer the dosage of poison in the pill and the quality of the pill just by smelling it, but the specific value requires a special spiritual tool. This stone bowl can give the most accurate value. I'm convinced. The cultivator said, and stepped aside. Swish. Another cultivator threw the Bayang pill into the bowl. Poison. 982 tenths million. Medium quality. Poison. 970 tenths million. Medium quality. Poison. 800 tenths million. Medium quality. Bayang pills were sent up one after another for testing. Most of the Bayang pills were of medium quality, but the same medium quality can distinguish the level of the alchemists. Only Bayang pills, the lowest quality pill, can be refined into medium quality pills. The probability of medium quality pills of higher level first grade and second grade pills is very low. Swish. One after another, they were tested separately. Like running water, the speed was very fast. But, at this moment, a ray of light flashed. Poison. 98 tenths million. Top quality, everyone exclaimed. This was a cultivator from the Sun family, named Sun Qian. Some cultivators from the Yi family had changing expressions and were paying attention. His aptitude was not good, only 3 spiritual roots in general, but with this alchemy skill, he was favored by the Yi family. Then, 5 more cultivators emerged in succession, refining superior Bayang pills. In the blink of an eye, it was Lu Xuanji's turn. He waved his hand and threw the Bayang pill into the bowl. But the bright light flashed, more dazzling than the previous times. Epidemium poison, 8 in 10 million, top grade. Everyone was stunned. Impossible. The Yi family alchemist said in disbelief. The pill was wrapped in his true essence and came in front of him. He smelled the smell and detected it with his mind, but his face changed. The quality of the Bayang pill was top grade. The refining time was just now successful, no more than a cup of tea. Impossible. This is cheating. How can a foundation building cultivator refine a top grade elixir? Top grade elixirs, according to legend, can only be refined by the golden pill ancestor, not even the purple mansion ancestor. Legend has it that even the golden pill ancestor can refine a top grade foundation building elixir, and it also requires a certain amount of luck. Everyone didn't believe it. But when the Yi family alchemist held the elixir in front of the skeptics, many doubters fell silent. They were alchemists, and they couldn't refine top grade elixirs, but they still had at least the ability to distinguish and could tell the difference between top grade and top grade. This elixir was of top grade quality. Chapter 117. First place in 3 levels, winning the championship. Congratulations, my friend, for refining a top grade elixir. The Yi family alchemist congratulated. It was just luck. I may not be able to refine it next time. Lu Xuanji said modestly. The golden pill ancestor refined a top grade foundation building elixir, and mine is a top grade Bayang elixir. The 2 are no longer on the same level, and there is still a big difference. That is also a top grade Bayang elixir. The Yi family alchemist said. Why not give it to my Yi family as a betrothal gift? Of course. Lu Xuanji said. The Yi family alchemist was grateful and put the top grade Bayang elixir in a special box and kept it. The whole process was very careful. If we only look at the efficacy, the price of the top grade Bayang elixir is at most 3 spirit stones. but from the perspective of top grade elixir, analysis and research may improve the level of alchemy, and the value is at least 10,000 spirit stones. He's just lucky. Next time, he may not be able to refine a top grade elixir. A white sun pill. What's the use of top grade? It's not very useful. The cultivators participating in the competition thought bitterly, secretly comforting themselves and hypnotizing themselves that this was just someone's luck. Only by hypnotizing themselves in this way can they suppress the inferiority and jealousy in their hearts. Next, I will be responsible for the inspection of talisman making. At this time, the Yi family's talisman maker appeared and proposed a topic for inspection. Suddenly, more than 50 cultivators came forward, took out the talisman pen, and began to carve talismans. Then, it was tested again for refining tools, formations, spiritual plants, etc. Many cultivators came forward one after another according to their specialties to show their talents. These cultivators have outstanding performance in hundreds of arts, and can be said to be geniuses. However, many cultivators were a little absent-minded, and in front of that top-grade white sun pill, the geniuses were also dimmed. The third level is to test your comprehension. The head of the Yi family appeared and said calmly, "There is a Taoist tablet here, which records the great supernatural power, Cheyenne Mudafa. Only when you understand it can you remember it. If you don't understand it, you will forget it soon. Whoever remembers more has a high comprehension." As he said that, he waved his hand and threw down a stone tablet. The stone tablet fell to the ground and turned into a foot high and 3 feet wide. It was recorded with dense text, about 100,000 words, telling the method of practicing the supernatural power, Cheyenne Mudafa, involving the ultimate secret. Collect it on the phone. Xuanji muttered in his heart. The phone was running, collecting the text into document management. Flipping through the phone, Xuanji was inexplicably happy. Up to now, the phone has 3 functions. One is document management, one is destiny deduction, and one is Beidou map. Destiny deduction can deduce a method suitable for oneself. Beidou map can detect the enemy in advance and know both oneself and the enemy. As for document management, it seems a bit useless. It only downloads files, which seems to be of little use. But later I found out that it is not useless, but very useful. Minor supernatural powers can be recorded on paper and passed on by word of mouth without any restrictions. But the great supernatural powers and supreme supernatural powers above have various restrictions. They cannot be recorded on paper and require special Dao monuments to carry the content. After a cultivator reads the Dao monument, if he comprehends the great supernatural power, he can remember it. If he does not comprehend it, he will soon forget the content on the stone tablet. The cultivator remembers the content of the great supernatural power, but he cannot speak the words and pass it on to others. He needs to cultivate this great supernatural power to perfection before he can try to engrave it on the Dao monument. Other cultivators can only comprehend and learn it by reading the Dao monument. But now, the document processing of the mobile phone bypasses the restrictions of the Dao monument. Puff. The head of the Yi family pointed his finger, and the 3-foot-long incense was lit. There is only 1 stick of incense time. The head of the Yi family said. Many cultivators began to comprehend the contents of the Dao tablet. In the second round, I used the Bushan key to create the top grade Beiyangdan. I can't cheat with my phone this time. Xuanji thought. Chapter 118 I choose Yuan IE. There are many female cultivators in my Yi family, and there are even more outstanding ones. It's understandable that you don't like a certain female cultivator, but among the many female cultivators, there will always be one that satisfies you. The head of the Yi family said, if there is not one female cultivator in my Yi family that you don't like, then it's not my Yi family's problem, but your problem. As he said that, he took out a bead and pointed his finger, and a light curtain suddenly appeared. In the light curtain, a garden was displayed, and more than 200 women were sitting in the garden. Each of them was outstanding, and all of them were above 80 points. Some had a cold temperament, some were graceful and noble, some were delicate and lovely, some were pure and charming, and some were charming and touching. They were all excellent in qualifications, beautiful women, and had high looks. Of course, those with poor looks would not appear here and become blind date objects. Is it suitable for me to choose like this? Xuanji smiled. Suitable. The head of the Yi family said, in the world of cultivation, the strong prey on the weak, and the weak can't protect anything. Remember 10 years ago, when we were going on a blind date, the list of female cultivators I presented was mainly composed of those with 3 spiritual roots, but later, after a cultivator of the Lu family became a purple mansion, there were 2 more cultivators with 2 spiritual roots and 2 with different spiritual roots in the blind date quota, but when you became the first in the 3 levels, there was 1 more top-notch woman. Xuanji asked, what kind of treatment do other cultivators who are going on a blind date get? The head of the Yi family said, the treatment is divided into 4 levels. The first level is for a genius like you, who can choose any of my Yi family's female cultivators at will, and can choose up to 3, 1 with 2 spiritual roots and 2 with 3 spiritual roots. The second level, male cultivators can choose 1 from the Yi family's female cultivators as their Taoist partner. The third level, my Yi family's female cultivators will take the lead in selecting those male cultivators. The fourth level is that my Yi family's female cultivators will directly recruit son-in-laws. Let me say here that son-in-laws just have a bad reputation, and all kinds of treatment are the same as those of my Yi family disciples. If you are willing to be a son-in-law in my Yi family, the treatment will be higher. Forget it, I don't want to be a son-in-law. Xuanji said, but this selection is too fast. Shouldn't we spend some time together, get to know each other, cultivate feelings, and then decide to be together? Too fast, not fast at all. The head of the Yi family sighed, people's hearts are fickle, and feelings are fickle. If love and marriage are only maintained by feelings, it is not reliable at all, and is most likely to collapse. There are so many beautiful women, I have long been dazzled, and I feel that they are all the same. Xuanji smiled. What are your requirements for a Taoist partner? I will help you select one. The head of the Yi family asked. I'm a person who is obsessed with cleanliness and demanding about love. Xuanji said, my partner must be a virgin and cannot be touched by other men. That's easy. The Yi family nodded and sent a telepathic message. Suddenly, in the garden, more than 20 female cultivators of the Yi family left. I'm demanding about love. Not only the body must belong to me, but also the soul. If a female cultivator of the Yi family has a lover, you can leave. Xuanji said. That's easy. The head of the Yi family nodded and said again through telepathy. In the garden, more than 20 female cultivators left. Xuanji asked, Senior, how can we ensure that the remaining cultivators are not lying? I'm the head of the Yi family, they dare not. The head of the Yi family said domineeringly. Xuanji was speechless. This head of the Yi family is not a polite person, and he is not just good at making things up. He is experienced and manages the Yi family in an orderly manner. There are more than 100 people left, and I can't choose either. Let the head of the family give some suggestions. Xuanji said. The patriarch of the Yi family said, among the 135 female cultivators, most of them only have 3 spiritual roots. Their aptitude is not bad, but they are only worthy of being your concubines. Among them, 4 women are the most outstanding. They are Yi Xiaoxiao, Yi Chenaiu, Yi Wanai, and Yi Linglong. They all have 2 spiritual roots. Yi Xiaoxiao is a descendant of the Yi family's giant ancestor. Yi Chenaiu has the most beautiful appearance and can be called the most beautiful woman in the Yi family, but her background is average, and her grandfather is only at the 8th level of foundation building. Yi Wanai has the worst background. Her appearance is not beautiful, and her father is just a mortal. Yi Linglong is not only the daughter of the giant ancestor, but also has the greatest background. In terms of aptitude, Yi Linglong has the best aptitude, Yi Chenaiu is second, Yi Xiaoxiao is third, and Yi Wanai is the worst. In terms of cultivation and age, Yi Linglong is 120 years old, and at the 9th level of foundation building, Yi Chenaiu is 125 years old, and at the 6th level of foundation building, Yi Xiaoxiao is 130 years old, and at the 8th level of foundation building, Yi Wanai is 140 years old, and at the 5th level, of foundation building. Lu Xuanji asked Senior, who should I choose? Among the more than 100 female cultivators in the Yi family, they all accompany the prince to study, and they are all supporting roles. The real flowers are these four. The head of the Yi family said, among these four, the most suitable one to be a Taoist partner is only Yi Linglang. Because she not only has a strong background, her father is the Golden Core Patriarch, and her own qualifications are also outstanding. Legend has it that Yi Linglang has a special physique, and this special physique makes her suitable to be your Taoist partner. Originally, she would not participate in the blind date meeting, but because of your outstanding performance, Yi Linglang participated instead. Lu Xuanji was silent. It seems that there are more than 130 female cultivators, and there is a lot of room for choice, but there are actually only 4 choices. Fate deduction. Who is the most suitable to be a Taoist partner? Fate deduction. Yi Linglang, the most outstanding qualification, has the hope of achieving the purple mansion before the age of 150, and then the host can eat soft rice to his heart's content. Yi Chenyu, the most beautiful, has a special cultivation method, which can help the host increase the probability of breaking through the purple palace. Yi Wanai is not suitable. Yi Linglang, the most suitable. Fate deduction gave the answer. Lu Xuanji was silent, but for the first time he overturned the conclusion of the mobile phone. I choose Yi Wanai. Lu Xuanji spoke directly. Okay, you and Yi Linglang, a perfect match. Why do you choose Yi Wanai? The head of the Yi family nodded, but suddenly felt something was wrong. Why reject Yi Linglang? Yi Linglang is the daughter of the Yi family's giant ancestor, the daughter of the emperor. I can't afford it. Yi Chenyu want to be a couple for life, but unfortunately I'm not worthy. Yi Xiaoxiao is also the descendant of the giant ancestor. I'm not worthy of it either. Yi Wanai has an average background, but she is the most suitable for me. Lu Xuanji said, I choose Yi Wanai. Choosing a wife, it is better to choose an ordinary status. Why would you choose like this? The head of the Yi family was puzzled. Isn't this good? Lu Xuanji said, I just took a look and saw that Yi Linglang is arrogant. Other male cultivators are like straw dogs in her eyes, and I'm just a straw dog. She is the least suitable for me. On the contrary, I looked at Yi Wanai a few times. She is like a background board among the 4 women. Such a woman has a gentle personality and will not quarrel with me. This is the best. Chapter 119. Past humiliation. Facing Lu Xuanji's answer, the head of the Yi family frowned. He couldn't understand Lu Xuanji's thoughts. Yi Wanai has the worst background. Her parents are mortals. Although she has 2 spiritual roots, she has only reached the 5th level of foundation building at the age of 140 due to the lack of support from her parents. Her speed is a bit slow. In addition, among the 4 girls, her spiritual roots are also the worst, only low spiritual roots of 2. The head of the Yi family said, she is not suitable for you. No, she is suitable for me. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, whether the shoes are suitable or not, I know, but you don't know. The head of the Yi family was speechless and didn't know what to say. First of all, marriage is the purpose, not the process. In other words, as long as the Yi family and the Lu family are married, it doesn't matter who the man is and who the woman is. Xuanji, you have to think it over. Wanai's cultivation talent is a bit poor. She can be your concubine, but she is not qualified to be your wife. But this girl is very proud and has made it clear that she will not be a concubine to any cultivator. We can't force her. The head of the Yi family said, if you marry her, at least she will be treated as a Taoist partner. If you want someone who is gentle and lovely, Xiaoxiao is not bad. She has a good talent for cultivation and has a chance of advancing to the 3rd level of the purple mansion in the future. As he spoke, he pointed his finger and the image was expanding. The images of Yi Linglang, Yi Xiaoxiao, Yi Chenyu, and Yi Wanai were getting bigger and more charming. Lu Xuanji said, Yi Wanai is not bad. The head of the Yi family said, how about this? I will call the 4 of them out. You can communicate for a while, get to know each other, and then confirm the marriage. Okay. Lu Xuanji said. The head of the Yi family breathed a sigh of relief and got up to leave. In the garden, many female cultivators were drinking tea. In front of the garden, there were 4 screens, showing cultivators of different levels. The first screen showed the clan leader and Lu Xuanji talking. The second screen showed 19 male cultivators, each with their own outstanding qualities. The third screen showed more than 100 male cultivators. The fourth screen showed 130 cultivators, the largest number. Many female cultivators were looking at the screens, communicating with each other through their divine thoughts, pointing and talking about the male cultivators on the screens, with the focus on Lu Xuanji. In the world, stunning beauties are in high demand, but so are the top geniuses. At this moment, the clan leader appeared and said, "Linglong, go and talk." As he spoke, he transmitted his divine thoughts. The scene and content of the conversation were transmitted over. Yi Linglong nodded and headed for the cave. In her opinion, she had a top background, a top family background, and top qualifications, and was a good match for Lu Xuanji, but the clan leader's eyes seemed a little bad. When she arrived at the cave, Yi Linglong looked at Lu Xuanji. This Lu family's Xuanji was wearing black clothes, which seemed slightly worn. He had worn the robe for 10 years. He ate spiritual fruits casually, looking free and natural. He was handsome, but he was unruly. He was like a wild horse, waiting to be conquered. Lu Xuanji also looked at Yi Linglong. She was wearing a white dress with golden stars on the edge. She was shining and colorful when she walked, as if the Milky Way was surrounding her. She was tall and straight, with a proud figure, hot and charming, with a hint of noble majesty. Her face could not be seen clearly with the veil, but her bright eyes were bright and suffocating. In this world, he had seen many beauties, but there were few who could compare with her. Especially that kind of noble aura, which aroused inner turmoil and desire to conquer. Suddenly, Lu Xuanji understood why many time travelers wanted to marry princesses when they returned to ancient times. It was not because the princess was beautiful, but many beauties were better than the princess. It's the identity of a princess. Conquering the high and mighty princess and pressing her under him can satisfy the vanity of many men at the bottom. Don't think vanity is unimportant. Why do many emperors work diligently and live a life of luxury? It's all for the vanity of being the greatest emperor in history. The dresses and decorations she wears are all top-level spiritual tools, expensive, worth at least 3,000 spiritual stones, and she is a rich woman. The veil on her face is a third-grade spiritual tool, which blocks prying eyes. Yi Linglong said nothing, and gently lifted her jade hand to take off her veil, revealing a breathtakingly beautiful and enchanting face. Looking at that face, Lu Xuanji was slightly shocked. With the veil covering her, she has a sense of expectation, and she will be more beautiful when she takes it off. Do I look good? Yi Linglong asked softly. Very beautiful, Lu Xuanji said frankly. Then, how about letting me be your Taoist partner? Yi Linglong stared at him deeply, her voice soft and magnetic. Not suitable, Lu Xuanji said. First, you are at the 9th level of foundation building, and I'm only at the 4th level. I'm not worthy of you. Second, you are 120 years old, and I'm only 92 years old. I don't like people older than me. Third, I'm lustful, and like beautiful women. I must have at least 7 or 8 wives and concubines, not just you. I'm not suitable for you. Yi Linglong was silent, just looking at him coldly, and a sense of oppression came down. Lu Xuanji was fidgeting. After a long time, Yi Linglong said, "These 3 reasons are not reasons. Tell me your real reason." Lu Xuanji said, "I don't know what virtue Xuanji has to be favored by fellow Taoist. Don't say it's love at first sight. We are not children anymore." Yi Linglong said, "I'm here to tell a story. Are you in the mood to listen?" "Okay." Lu Xuanji nodded. There was once a girl who was detected to have 2 spiritual roots at the age of 6, and she was a top level to spiritual roots. When her father found out, he was very happy and cultivated the girl. The girl awakened her spiritual roots at the age of 6, entered the 1st level of key training at the age of 9, and then successfully established her foundation at the age of 32. Next, she advanced 1 level every 7 years on average, but encountered bottlenecks at the 4th and 7th levels of foundation building. At the age of 80, she entered the 6th level of foundation building. At that time, the female cultivator was as arrogant as a peacock. She felt that the purple mansion was nothing, and that she would definitely become a golden elixir in the future. Until one day, her father took her to visit a Yuanying Zhenjin. That Yuanying Zhenjin was a demon cultivator named Kainai. Zhenjin Kainai walked the Hehuandao. Her father hoped that she would become his apprentice. The so-called disciple might become the concubine of that Yuanying Zhenjin in the future. At this point, Yi Linglang paused, as if asking something, and asked, "Do you think the female cultivator will agree?" "No, that woman is proud by nature. How could she agree?" Lu Xuanji said. That female cultivator didn't agree at first, but she agreed later. Yi Linglang said, "Because my father told her that you have poor aptitude and there is no hope of becoming a golden elixir. The only way is to become a disciple of Master Kainai, and with the help of the Hehuandao, there is a 3-level chance of becoming a golden elixir." The female cultivator agreed after hesitating, and followed her father to meet Master Kainai, and told him her intention. Master Kainai looked at her for a moment, and said directly that she was dull in aptitude, like rotten wood, and was not worthy of being his concubine. "Fellow Daoist, you should know who that female cultivator is." Recalling the scenes of the past, Yi Linglang felt humiliated. Chapter 120 Becoming a Taoist Companion. In the cave, Yi Linglang angrily talked about the past. Talking about the humiliation case. "My condolences." Lu Xuanji comforted. "Am I beautiful?" "Dao is very beautiful. But why did Master Kainai reject me?" Yi Linglang asked. "I don't know." Lu Xuanji said. Talking about deep things with a stranger is a big mistake in life. Only her father knew about this scandal. This was also the first time she mentioned it to outsiders. "Let's not talk about this anymore. It will be of great benefit to both us if we become Taoist companions." Yi Linglang gathered her thoughts and said, "First of all, my family still has some property, plus the dowry given by your father, which is enough to increase your chances of impacting the purple mansion by 2 levels. Secondly, although you are valued by Patriarch Jin is often in seclusion or traveling, and it is impossible for him to watch over you all the time. If you form an alliance with me, it will give you further protection. Finally, I have some close friends and acquaintances, and I can help you to make connections. Your aptitude is not much different from mine, but your comprehension is better than mine. But I'm already at the 9th level of foundation building, and you're only at the 4th level. It's all because of insufficient resources, which slows down the process." She didn't talk about feelings or anything like that, but started by talking about how much benefit she could bring to him. Lu Xuanji said, "Why did you choose me?" Yi Linglang said, "Over the years, I have met many geniuses in the Yi family, the Danliang sect, and other places. Those geniuses with extraordinary talents look down on me, and I look down on those cultivators with average talents. You have the talent of the nascent soul, and there is a chance to enter the nascent soul in the future. You can be called a nascent soul seed, which is just right for me. We are a natural match. You need me, and I need you." Lu Xuanji was silent. After a long time, he said, "I have 3 conditions." "Please tell me," Yi Linglang asked. "After becoming my Taoist partner, you can only belong to me, and you are not allowed to have any affair with some male cultivators. If you have an affair, I will kill you, even if you are the daughter of a giant and cultivator." Lu Xuanji said, "This is the first condition." "Of course." Yi Linglang said, "In fact, you think too highly of me. Although my father is a giant and cultivator, he has more than 100 children. My father values me, but he also doesn't value me, otherwise he wouldn't have given me to Kainai's engine as a concubine. Second, after becoming my Taoist partner, I hope your heart will be on my side, not on the Yi family's side." Lu Xuanji said, "Of course." Yi Linglang nodded and said, "A daughter who is married off is like spilled water. Naturally, I stand on the side of the Lu family." Lu Xuanji was a little surprised that he readily agreed to 2 conditions, but he still proposed a 3rd condition. "In the future, I will not have only you as my Taoist partner. Please bear with me. If you are strong enough, 3 wives and 4 concubines are nothing. Even if you have 3,000 concubines in the harem, you can understand it. Don't be obsessed with beauty and love between men and women. Cultivation is the foundation. As for beauty, it is just an embellishment in life." Yi Linglang said, "I have a maid. If you like, I can send her to accompany you." I have some girlfriends. If you like, I can help you find a Taoist partner. You have a good impression of Xuanji. She has no big background and was born in a humble family. I can help you find a Taoist partner and let her become your concubine. Yi Linglang said with a smile, her tone calm and quiet. What Lu Xuanji valued was just a small matter in her eyes. Her Taoist partner has good aptitude and good understanding, but he is still a child in essence and still values some mundane things too much. But it's good this way. He values friendship and loyalty better than those ruthless people. Xuanji, after all, is a second-grade spiritual root. It seems a bit too much to send someone to be a concubine directly. Lu Xuanji said. My Yi family does things based on mutual consent. Even if it is a marriage, we will not force the female cultivators of the Yi family. Yi Linglang said, but after rejecting the family's arrangement, various welfare benefits will be reduced a lot. After all, if you enjoy the welfare benefits of the Yi family, you naturally have to contribute to the Yi family. If you are unwilling to contribute to the Yi family, your treatment will naturally decrease. Xuanji's aptitude is not good, and the probability of entering the purple mansion is less than 2 levels. But if she becomes your concubine, it may increase some of the probability. However, you can't count on it now. Wait until you become a purple mansion before talking about other things. I'm not in that mood either. Let everything go with fate. Lu Xuanji said. Then the two of them took the towers of vow on the spot, became Taoist partners, supported each other, helped each other, and sought the Tao together. This kind of oath, which costs the path of Taoism, is also the highest oath of a cultivator. Xuanji, this is for you. Yi Linglang took out a storage bag and handed it over. Lu Xuanji took the storage bag and opened it. There were about 100 Xinyan pills in it. Xinyan pills can assist cultivators in their cultivation and increase their cultivation speed, which can save a year for cultivators. The disadvantage is that it takes 3 years to take them, because it takes time to digest the pills and eliminate the poison. Taking one pill every 3 years is the best time to take it. If a foundation building cultivator needs 120 years to cultivate to the peak of foundation building, he can take Xinyan pills for a long time and only need 90 years. However, Xinyan pills are extremely expensive. One Xinyan pill is worth 3,000 lingxi. 30 Xinyan pills are equivalent to 90,000 lingxi. Lu Xuanji has seen Xinyan pills before, but he has never bought one because he can't afford it. It is too extravagant to spend 3,000 lingxi to save a year of hard practice. This is too much. Lu Xuanji said speechlessly. I have already reached the 9th level of foundation building. I may retreat to the Purple Palace in the next few years. My husband also needs to work hard. This Xinyan pill is useless to me. It is just right for my husband. Yi Linglang said, when my husband becomes a Purple Palace master, we will officially become Taoist couples. The subtext is that, if Lu Xuanji cannot become a Purple Palace, or dies halfway, they will naturally not be able to become Taoist couples. Of course. Lu Xuanji also nodded. As he said that, he fumbled around on his body, and was about to give out the engagement token. But after thinking for a moment, he felt that he had nothing on him. There was nothing valuable, nothing good to give. My husband, just give me something casually. Yi Linglang said calmly. It is said that you have a special physique. What is the name of the physique? Lu Xuanji asked. I do have a special physique, but it has not yet awakened. My father took me to visit Master Kai in order to ask him to help me awaken my special physique. But after testing, Master Kai said that this was an unpopular physique, and he couldn't awaken it without knowing its name. Yi Linglang talked about some of her experiences back then. There are hundreds of millions of cultivators in the world, but there are also tens of millions of special physiques. There are only dozens of famous physiques, such as Xian Shandaote, Taiyang Saint Body, Samsara Saint Body, Jiuyang Saint Body, Yanayang Demon Body, etc. These physiques are famous because they gave birth to some top masters. Because of the existence of these top masters, these physiques are also world famous. But some physiques have never given birth to masters and seem to be unknown. As for the specific effects, how to awaken, the matching exercises, etc., they are all blank. These physiques are relatively unpopular. These physiques cannot be awakened, and their specific uses are unknown, which is not much different from ordinary bodies. Chapter 121 Dowry. Can you tell me about the characteristics of your physique? Xuanji said calmly. Yifixu has an innate Dao fetus. Not only is her cultivation speed extremely fast, but it can also increase her comprehension. She can be said to have a top-level physique. As for other physiques, I don't know. My physique is nothing special. I don't have a strong attack power, I don't have a terrifying cultivation speed, I can't increase it, and I can't improve my comprehension. It's just that some of the medicinal power disappears and merges into the flesh. My physique is a little stronger than that of ordinary cultivators, but it's also limited. It's not as strong as the Vajra body, the prison body, etc. It may be a relatively weak physique. Speaking of physique, Yi Linglang was slightly disappointed. Special physiques are nothing more than a few major categories. The first category can increase the cultivation speed of cultivators. The second category is the innate shortcut, which can improve the cultivation and comprehension. The third category is powerful in combat and good at killing. The fourth category has a powerful auxiliary effect. But her physique is just a little stronger, but it is limited. If she hadn't sensed that the medicinal power disappeared after taking the elixir, she would have thought she was a mortal body. Linglong, release the restrictions. I want to check your physique, Xuanji said. Yi Linglang hesitated for a moment, but still nodded and said, okay. Xuanji's divine thoughts flashed, and one by one, his divine thoughts penetrated through the clothes, flesh, bones, internal organs, cells, meridians, danshan, sea of consciousness, etc., and penetrated all the mysteries. 3 seconds later, Xuanji closed his eyes and thought. Yi Linglang put away her shyness and waited patiently. At this time, the mobile phone has collected relevant data, and destiny deduction is in the process of calculation. Calculation is in progress, determined to be a special physique. This physique cannot improve the speed of cultivation, speed, combat effectiveness, and assistance. 7 light balls were found on this physique, which seems to be 7-dimensional spaces. 7-dimensional spaces are 7 danshan. At this time, a picture appeared on the mobile phone, and there were 7 danshans in the picture. The danshan in the abdomen is the largest, and the other 6 danshans are scattered throughout the human body. They are smaller in size, only half the size. 1 main danshan and 6 secondary danshans. This special physique, with an unknown name, and no records in books, has the following advantages. Advantage, with 7 danshans, the stored true essence is 4 times that of the same generation of cultivators. Advantage, in the Jindan stage, 7 Jindan can be condensed, and the mana is more powerful. Advantage, after entering the Jindan stage, the mana is strong, which can increase the probability of breaking through the nascent soul stage. Other advantages, temporarily unknown. Awakening method. Take the 3rd grade spiritual medicine 7 colored flower. The spiritual medicine will be absorbed by the body, and when the energy accumulates to a certain level, the danshan will automatically open up. Xuanji opened his eyes and said, I have a way. As he said that, he took out a blank jade slip and used his mind as a pen to engrave the characteristics, advantages, and awakening speculations of this physique on it. This is considered a betrothal gift. Xuanji handed over a jade slip. Yi Linglang took the jade slip, and her mind sensed the message. After reading it once, the information recorded on it disappeared. 7 danshans, 1 main danshan and 6 secondary danshans. Taking the 7 color flower can open 6 secondary danshans. Thinking about this information, Yi Linglang was half believing and half doubting. But she had already believed it 7 times in her heart. There was no point in lying and cheating. The authenticity could be verified soon. The 7 color flower was a 3rd grade spiritual medicine, expensive, but it was nothing to her. You have the innate divine eyes. Can you see through the characteristics of my physique? Yi Linglang asked. I guess so. Xuanji said calmly. I'm lucky to choose you as my Taoist partner. Yi Linglang smiled. There are many kinds of innate divine eyes, each with its own magical powers. The double pupil can see through the flaws of the enemy's moves and give a fatal blow. The eyes that break illusions can break illusions and see the truth of the world. The eyes of luck can see the strength of the enemy's luck. The eyes of fire can induce the power of fire and launch a super attack. The eyes of time can see through the long river of time and see some fragments of the future. Those cultivators with innate divine eyes are not inferior to those with special physiques in terms of qualifications and other pride of heaven. If it weren't for this Deo couple, he might not have revealed that he had innate divine eyes. As for what type of innate divine eyes, she didn't intend to ask. These involved the fundamentals of a cultivator, and even Deo couples shouldn't ask casually. They had just become Deo couples, and they were not yet good enough to reveal all their secrets to each other. Goodbye. I hope the young lady can achieve the purple mansion as soon as possible. I also wish my husband a long life. With that, the two said goodbye and left. Outside the cave, she met her father and told him about Yilinglang. Well, Xuanji, you are lucky in love. Father said. Wrong, she is lucky in love. Lu Xuanji said. Haha, it's the same. Father laughed. After greeting the Yi family, the two returned to Changyuan Mountain. Seeing the elder, Lu Xuanji reported what happened. The elder smiled and was very happy. Yilinglang, you are the pride of the main branch of the Yi family, the daughter of the Golden Pill Patriarch. You are so lucky, the elder said with a smile. Yes. Lu Xuanji nodded. Not long after, the Lu family sent a betrothal gift, and the Yi family also sent a gift. With the help of the marriage, the Yi family returned some of the markets, shops, spiritual mines, etc. that once belonged to the Lu family, and established an alliance with the Lu family, and also got along well with the Golden Patriarch. With the help of this marriage, the Lu family's relationship with the Yi family has been further consolidated, and it has also established a relationship with the main branch of the Yi family. Established corresponding connections, and has corresponding channels to purchase some spiritual pills, spiritual tools, etc. in the future. Both parties are happy. At the same time, both parties agreed that after both parties entered the Purple Mansion, they would be completely married and become Taoist couples. Everyone outside was happy, but it had nothing to do with Lu Xuanji. He was flipping through the storage bag. In the storage bag, there were not only 30 true yuan pills, but also 2 jade slips. One jade slip recorded the complete heavenly wood method, and the other recorded the complete pure yang heavenly fire. Both were graded as great divine powers. One was used for assistance, and the other was mainly used for killing. They were the advanced versions of Spring Breeze Wood Spirit Technique and Heavenly Fire Technique. Comprehending these two great divine powers, they were also compared with small divine powers. Great divine powers are more difficult than small divine powers. Only when you have cultivated small divine powers to great success, or even perfection, can you be qualified to comprehend great divine powers. Otherwise, it would be like swallowing a jujube without understanding its meaning. Lu Xuanji pondered. When practicing divine powers, cultivators should start with the easy and then the difficult, starting with small divine powers, then the great divine powers, and finally the supreme divine powers. Progressing step by step, it is like elementary school first, then middle school, and finally high school. If you skip the previous ones and directly learn the supreme divine powers, you will fall into a situation where you can't understand it at all. It was as if he had obtained the supreme magical power, great 5-element yin yang yuan magnetic universe extinction blade, but he could not even comprehend it, not to mention practicing it. It was like reading a heavenly book. After just a moment of comprehending, Lu Xuanji stopped comprehending. Instead, he took out a yuan pill and swallowed it, digesting the medicinal power, and began to improve his cultivation. Chapter 122 Foundation Building Level 5. Cultivation is the foundation, and magical powers are only the end. The same fireball technique, a cultivator at the first level of key training, can only burn down a house with a fireball, but the Yuan Ying ancestor can turn a fireball into a raging flame that floods dozens of miles. Therefore, improving cultivation is the key. After taking the yuan pill, Lu Xuanji began to refine it, and the medicinal power began to be digested. At the same time, he took the spiritual liquid from the Xianjin cauldron, and took it directly. Woo woo woo. In the cave, the spiritual energy in the spiritual cave flew out, and turned into a stream of air into the body. It was refined by Xuanji, and his cultivation was steadily improving. Time is passing. Cultivation does not know the years. In the blink of an eye, 8 years have passed. Kaba. Kaba. Xuanji moved his muscles and bones, and the breath on his body leaked out. He was already at the 5th level of foundation building. He was already 100 years old. In 8 years, he ate 4 Xinyan pills, an average of 1 every 2 years. His ability to digest pills was 1 year less than expected. The auxiliary medicinal effect of Xinyan is indeed top-notch. 4 pills saved 4 years. It would have taken 12 years to enter the 5th level of foundation building, but now it only takes 8 years. It seems that the speed is too fast, and some of the foundation is superficial. Xuanji had to end his retreat, and use the Bushanding to refine the Xinyan, refine the body, and consolidate the foundation. Speed is important, but the foundation is also important. After walking out of the retreat, Xuanji saw the elder. The elder was laughing, and seemed to have gained some weight. Because of the breakthrough in the Great Realm, the elder returned to the state of middle age. Not only did his appearance return to middle age, but his mentality also returned to the state of middle age. In the past 10 years, he successively took in 12 female cultivators as concubines, and gave birth to 13 children. As for the cultivation, it is still the 1st level of Zifu, but there is not much progress. With the help of Jinlao Zhu, after entering the Zifu realm, his potential was exhausted. Before his lifespan was exhausted, he was at most the 4th level of Zifu. There is no hope for the golden elixir. Because of his exhausted potential, he shifted his focus from cultivation to family affairs, focusing on training family cultivators and giving birth to offspring. At this moment, he was flipping through the account book and clearing the accounts. Xuanji has come out of retreat. Here is the account book. The elder handed over the account book directly. Xuanji did not continue, but asked, "If you have anything to say, please speak directly, Great Elder." In the past 10 years, the family has produced 8 foundation building monks, 2 of whom have passed away, and 2 died in battle. Now there are 7 foundation building monks in the family. It is estimated that within 50 years, 15 foundation building monks will be trained, and the family will provide money and loans. Recently, the family has added some industries, mainly lark breeding. There are 2 more second-grade alchemists, and 1 weapon refiner. The mineral veins in the territory have begun to dry up, and the family has lost another industry. Last year, the family's annual income was 35,000 spirit stones, and it spent 28,000 spirit stones, and there was a surplus of 7,000 spirit stones. The Great Elder began to talk about the status of the family's monks, the distribution of the family's industries, the income and expenditure status, etc. Generally speaking, the family's monks have increased, the financial income has increased, and the financial expenditure has also increased. Xuanji asked, "Is there any way to increase the family's financial income?" "It's not easy to increase it." The elder said, "Many immortal cultivation families produce and sell certain items by themselves, and rarely need things from the outside world. The customers of the shops are mainly independent cultivators. However, independent cultivators have limited consumption capacity, and the number of elixirs, spiritual tools, etc. required each year is limited. There is no need to expand the scale of production. After expanding production, there will be a situation where production increases, but income does not increase. It's a bit troublesome." Xuanji frowned slightly. Products are only valuable when they are sold and can be exchanged for spiritual stones. If they are piled up in the hands, it will be troublesome. For example, the family now has 53,000 acres of spiritual fields, in which spiritual medicines, white yang rice, etc. are planted, which are enough for the Lu family to consume, and there is still some surplus to store. At this moment, the area of spiritual fields has been expanded to 100,000 acres or 200,000 acres, which is not a big problem. But the problem is that, if the cultivated land area is expanded, the excess spiritual medicines, spiritual rice, etc. cannot be sold, and the accumulation in the hands is a serious waste. Similarly, in some of the family shops, the number of elixirs, spiritual tools, etc. sold every day is limited. Even if they refine more pills or make more spiritual tools, they can't be sold and will only remain unsellable. Many times, the family has to reduce production capacity to reduce losses. As for price wars, it is impossible. There are only two situations in price wars. One is being isolated by other families, and the other is entering a state of loss. Moreover, many low-level pills, low-level talismans, low-level spiritual tools, etc. are in a state of thin profit. The profit margin itself is small. Fighting a price war is almost courting death. Xuanji, I heard that you have become a third-grade spiritual plant master? The elder asked, confirming again. Yes. Xuanji nodded and said, in the 30 mu of spiritual fields, I planted chalcedony, pure yang grass, purple yang grass, nirvana flowers, etc. I take care of them for 1 hour every day and ripen them. In another 20 years, chalcedony will mature, and then we can refine the foundation building pill. Moreover, chalcedony will mature every year, and can be used to refine the foundation building pill. It's just that pure yang grass, purple yang grass, nirvana flowers, etc. take a long time. It will take at least 200 years for the first batch to mature. There is still a long time to wait. God bless my Lu family. Not only did we give birth to a purple mansion cultivator, but we also gave birth to a third-grade spiritual plant master. It seems that my Lu family may give birth to the second, third, or even the fourth purple mansion cultivator. The elder laughed loudly, with an indescribable sense of joy. In this era, the sphere of influence of many immortal cultivation families has been demarcated, and there are also the rules of the Dandayang school. It is impossible to start a war and seize the territory of other forces. In this era, the best way to make money is to train high-level alchemists, high-level spiritual planters, high-level weapon refiners, etc., and sell some high-level spiritual weapons, high-level elixirs, high-level spiritual medicines, etc. to make money. In the previous life, there was a price scissors gap, and 800 million shirts could be exchanged for a Boeing passenger plane. This is a huge profit brought by high value-added products. This world is still the same. The profits brought by those high-level spiritual medicines far exceed those of low-level spiritual medicines. The annual income of the Lu family from the low-level spiritual rice and low-level spiritual medicines planted in the 53,000 acres of spiritual fields is only 1/10 of the 30 acres of high-level spiritual medicines planted by Lu Xuanji. The only disadvantage is that the operation cycle is long and the risk is high. Wait until 20 years later, the income of the third floor of the Lu family will come from you. Wait until 200 years later, the income of the 7th floor of the Lu family will come from you. The elder sighed. At that time, it will be up to you to support the entire Lu family. In the past, when I was weak, I was able to grow up with the protection of the Lu family. When I become a purple mansion, I will naturally protect the Lu family. Lu Xuanji said sincerely. Thanks to the Lu family made him. In the early days, the Lu family gave him shelter and time to grow. Later, they also shielded him from the wind and rain, and resisted external dangers. Because of the protection of the Lu family and the care of the elders, he was able to grow up. If he was born as a casual cultivator, relying on one person to fight outside, he might grow up, but he might die halfway. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123, Not seeking to be a lonely immortal, but to be a free immortal. Xuanji, I have something to tell you. Suddenly thinking of something, the elder said solemnly. What happened? Lu Xuanji asked. In the 2nd year of your retreat, your father Lu Jinwen passed away. In the 5th year of your retreat, your mother was so sad that she also passed away. The elder said calmly. Buzz. Lu Xuanji's head was buzzing, and he didn't come back to his senses for a long time. He left in a daze, and found a group of graves in the back mountain. He searched and found his father's grave and his mother's grave. Father, I'm sorry. Lu Xuanji said, I was busy in retreat and busy breaking through the realm. I was not with you when you passed away. I'm sorry. Thinking of this, he couldn't help crying. Tears fell. Xuanji, don't be sad. It's not a big deal when someone dies. At this time, the great elder said, your father passed away at the age of 225, which is already considered old. As for your mother, she was only at the 4th level of key training, but she lived to be 130 years old, which is also good enough. They were lucky. They died peacefully at home, and died of old age. As for the other cultivators of the Lu family, some died while killing people for treasures, some died while hunting monsters, some died in fierce battles with cultivators, and some died while practicing and going on business trips. The lifespan of the key training stage is 120 years, but there are only a few who live to be 100 years old after their lifespan is exhausted. Many cultivators die on the way. The same is true for foundation building cultivators. There are only a few who can live to be more than 200 years old, but most of them die outside. Their bones are shattered, and then they are carried away by wild dogs. Take me for example. I'm a purple mansion cultivator, and my lifespan should be 480 years old, but it is possible that I was killed in a fight with cultivators. On the path of cultivation, the first thing to learn is to face death and accept it calmly. But I don't accept it. I don't understand it. Xuanji gritted his teeth and said, his eyes flashing with unwillingness. You have to accept it, even if you don't want to. You are just a foundation building cultivator. Even if you become a giant and great cultivator or a Yuanying's engine in the future, how many people can you help to reach Chindan and Yuanying? Some cultivators in the family are not talented and have poor comprehension, so just let them go and choose to give up. Some cultivators could only cultivate to the foundation building stage, but you dragged them to the purple mansion. Some cultivators could only cultivate to the purple mansion, but you dragged them to the Jindan. If you drag a group of people to progress like this, it will inevitably slow down your own cultivation speed. Resources are limited, and how many resources can you squander for those people? The elder said calmly, saying something cruel and cold. Cultivating immortals in a family does not mean that all the cultivators in the family must become golden core or nascent soul cultivators and become top level cultivators. This is impossible. It's just giving them some help and support. As for how long they can go, it depends on their luck. Relying on one person's strength to pull a group of people in the family forward will only drag yourself down. You are the patriarch. You are the one in power in the family, not the workhorse of the family. You don't owe them anything, but they owe you a lot. I'm just unwilling to accept this. After losing my parents, I'm an orphan. Xuanji said, when parents are still alive, life still has a place to go. If parents are gone, life only has a way back. As he said this, tears fell again. So what if you are unwilling? The elder said, legend has it that only the Yuanying true lord can pry open the reincarnation and live another life. But your parents, one is a foundation building cultivator, and the other is just a key training cultivator. When they die, they are really dead, and there is absolutely no second life. When a person dies, it is like a lamp going out. How can there be a second life? For mortals, when they die, they are really dead. Only the strong can live a second and third life. Legend has it that a reincarnation emperor was born in the reincarnation demon vein. He created the reincarnation heavenly art and wanted to open up the underworld. He made a great wish to open up the supreme reincarnation. When a person dies, it is like a lamp going out, and reincarnation will be rekindled, giving the people at the bottom a glimmer of hope. Death is no longer the end of life, but another beginning. In the end, it failed. He only gave his disciples the power of reincarnation. Because after a person dies, the soul will only last for less than 10 breaths before it will dissipate. Only in special circumstances will it turn into a ghost, but without a great opportunity, it will also dissipate. It is almost impossible for mortals and low-level cultivators to live a second life. Living a second life is the right of the strong. As for the poor and the weak, don't even think about it. But I still don't want to accept it. Xuanji said. The elder said, cultivating immortals is lonely. In 200 years, I will also sit in meditation, and many familiar people will pass away. Only your Taoist partner will accompany you until the end of your life. In the past, I thought it was Yi Fixu, but now it seems to be Yi Linglang. I still don't want to accept it. Lu Xuanji said, cultivating immortals is to be free, to be refreshing, and to be happy to live. If you cultivate immortals, in the end, you will cultivate loneliness. It's better not to cultivate such an immortal. Standing up and wiping away tears, a trace of determination and resoluteness flashed in Lu Xuanji's eyes. When I close my eyes, this world is as illusory as smoke. When I open my eyes, the world is as real as ever. The sun and the moon rise for me, and the mountains and rivers dance for me. When I exist, this world has meaning. When I disappear, this world loses its meaning. I don't seek to be a lonely immortal in this life. I only seek to be a free immortal. If I become an immortal, I will definitely resurrect my parents. If I can't, then I will become an immortal king, an immortal emperor, and stand at the end of the immortal world. Standing there, Lu Xuanji swore to the sky, like an ant defying the will of heaven. The elder was silent. He didn't know what to say. In the cultivation of immortality, there is a saying of supreme forgetfulness. The so-called forgetfulness is to wait until the lifespan of parents and relatives runs out and dies naturally, and then forgetfulness. In the way of magic, there is a saying of cutting off feelings. There is a saying of killing one's wife to prove the truth. In order to cut off feelings, one kills his wife, father, mother, son, daughter, and all worldly feelings. The two seem different, but in fact they are similar in nature. Abandoning the cause and effect of the mortal world, seeking great freedom, only in this way can one achieve longevity. If the cause and effect are not cut off, the great way will be difficult to achieve. But Xuanji was reluctant to give up, and instead turned it into an obsession. He wanted to step forward to persuade him, but gave up. He was just a purple mansion cultivator. What did he know? Xuanji has his own path, right or wrong, he must go on. After worshipping his parents, the world returned to peace. Lu Xuanji approached the family cultivators, asking questions and giving instructions. Blood is the bond that connects the family cultivators. But this alone is not enough, and more contact is needed. After spending a long time together, there will naturally be friendship. After asking questions and getting along with each other, they will have feelings for each other. His position as the patriarch is also stable. In this way, another 3 years passed. Xuanji, the beast tide is coming. At this time, the great elder said, Chapter 124 The beast tide attacks. Chapter 125 First battle with monster. Boom boom boom. The earth was shaking, accompanied by a violent noise. More than 10,000 monsters rushed over, and their target was Lu Xuanji. These monsters had poor blood talents, and most of them were born with shallow intelligence, with an IQ of about 3 years old. As for the combat power, the weakest was only at the first level of key training, and the strongest was only at the 9th level of key training. These monsters were just cannon fodder in the beast tide. They were very weak, and one could be killed with a casual blow. But when more than 10,000 monsters rushed over continuously, Lu Xuanji's face changed slightly, and his palms were sweating. If there are too many ants, they can bite elephants to death. Moreover, these more than 10,000 monsters are much stronger than ants. Kill the monster. Lu Xuanji shouted, and the Lihuo sword in his hand flashed, and he operated the heavenly fire art. Suddenly, 80 runes flashed, turning into streams of light that entered the Lihuo sword. This third grade spiritual weapon was flashing red energy. The energy became 3 feet long, and 80 runes combined together to form a phoenix, followed by a phoenix cry. Sizzle. The void was making a slight sound, and the fiery red energy swept in, killing the monsters, like a sharp knife cutting tofu. 30 monsters were affected and died. Another 30 monsters were seriously injured. Their skin and flesh were roasted and tormented. Another 40 monsters were slightly injured. Their hair was scorched. Suddenly, the monsters were in a mess. Cut, cut, cut. Lu Xuanji was like a god of war, urging the Lihuo sword. The 3-foot-long red energy kept slashing down, tearing and destroying. It was like a red tornado, sweeping everything. It was like a phoenix, soaring in the sky. It was like a hell furnace, melting everything. Bang bang. Every time the sword was slashed, dozens of monsters were killed, and dozens of monsters were affected. Wherever they went, the monsters were destroying. At the beginning, the monsters were still holding on, but after killing 10 monsters in a row, more and more monsters died. The monster team began to disperse, and a trace of fear flashed in their eyes. How long can you hold on with such a killing move? Black Wolf looked at this scene, and a trace of disdain flashed in his eyes. A common man cannot defeat 10,000 people. There is indeed a huge difference between key training, foundation building, purple mansion, etc. But this gap can be made up by the number of people. Dozens of key training monsters are naturally no match for the foundation building cultivators. But thousands or tens of thousands of monsters pounce on them, and the foundation building cultivators will die after holding on for a while. This human cultivator killed dozens of monsters with one sword, which is indeed extremely fierce. But how long can such a killing move last? It won't be long before his true essence will be exhausted, and then it will be time to share him. The Black Wolf roared and gave a command. The breath of blood swept over, and the breath of the superior suppressed it. The monsters that were originally scattered and fearful, their eyes turned blood red after a while, and the madness of the beasts was activated. The fearful emotions were completely drowned by the wildness, their eyes turned blood red, and they cried out. The scattered teams gathered together again, turning into small teams, with hundreds of monsters in a group, spreading out and surrounding them from all sides. Ice blades, wind knives, earth spikes, lightning, fireballs, flying swords, etc. All kinds of spells attacked. These spells, the power of each one is very low, very weak, but when hundreds of monsters are combined, the power is superimposed together, and it turns into a terrifying killing move. There is no weak innate magical power, only the monsters are not cultivated enough. Boom boom boom. Hundreds of fireballs attacked and submerged everything. Xuanji activated the Xuanji, which instantly became 10 feet in size, and blocked the top of his head. The hole opened, and hundreds of fireballs were instantly sucked into the big cauldron. Flying sword cut. Xuanji took a deep breath, and the Lihuo sword flew out of his hand, stabbing continuously, and dozens of monsters were killed instantly. The next moment, he moved his body quickly, and moved 100 meters away from the Taoist in an instant. At the same place, hundreds of wind blades swept everything. Kill. Xuanji took a deep breath, and urged the Lihuo sword to cut out. The flames were rising and destroying everything. The Xuanji was flashing, devouring, and refining, resisting the magic attacks of the monsters. His body moved quickly, looking for the weaknesses of the enemy monsters, and constantly cutting them. Kill, kill, kill. The movements became simple and numb, and he continued to harvest lives among the monsters. The true essence was being consumed violently, and at the same time, the spiritual liquid in the Xuanji was constantly being refined, turning into a vast true essence to support the battle. The Danshan, which had been exhausted time and time again, became full again. The battle continued to intensify. One monster after another was falling to the ground, and falling to the ground. Trampling the corpses of the monsters, he continued to move forward and rushed forward. At the beginning, it was not a big deal, but as the battle continued, the monsters that died on the ground continued one after another. The monsters that were originally fearless of death were also tired and afraid. The blood red color in their eyes began to dissipate. Subconsciously, they began to flee and evacuate. Kill. Xuanji's arms were a little numb, and his whole body was a little tired. Some tendons and muscles were even damaged. Relying on the spiritual liquid in the swallowing heaven cauldron, he could keep his true essence in an endless supply, but this fatigue was aggravating, and could not be relieved. This was the first time for such a protracted battle. The pressure on the body and the test of the body's endurance are almost huge. The fight between monks is a matter of seconds, and the battle rhythm is fast and short. Such a long-lasting battle is almost non-existent. How is it possible? He fought for an hour, and swung his sword 10,000 times in a row. Why is he not tired? He fought for an hour. Why is his true essence not exhausted? Does he have magic weapon that can store true essence and improve his ability to fight for a long time? Black Wolf said in shock. But after being shocked, he was delighted, and a trace of greed flashed across his face. Those auxiliary magic weapons are more useful for monsters. The human in front of him has a magic weapon that stores true essence, which can improve his ability to fight for a long time, which is of great benefit to him. Continue the siege. Black Wolf roared, and was about to order the monsters under his command to continue to besiege this human monk. Monsters are not short of cannon fodder. If 100,000 low-level monsters die, there will be 100,000 to replace them immediately. What they are least afraid of is a war of attrition. At this moment, the monsters roared, but they didn't care about Black Wolf's orders at all. They began to retreat, and even collapsed. Black Wolf was furious, and was about to activate the blood secret technique, to suppress the remaining monsters. But after a careful count, more than 50,000 monsters were killed in just 1 hour, and there were more than 100,000 seriously injured monsters, and even more lightly injured monsters. Although there were still 700,000 monsters, with enough combat power, the morale of the monsters was affected. Black Wolf Monster General, do you dare to fight me? At this moment, Xuanji shouted loudly, and the voice came, rolling like thunder. Suddenly, the battlefield was silent, and all the monsters looked at Black Wolf Monster General coldly, waiting for his answer. The monsters don't like power struggles, and they admire the strong the most. Only the strong can get the respect of the monsters. Why don't you dare to fight? Black Wolf Monster General spoke and agreed directly. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.